You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Pala polo bolo bo pa pa pala pala balo bo pala lele. Yesterday has come and gone, leaving some of us to mourn. Times we had and friends we lost, and while nature took its course, we have seen the many faces of slavery. We have seen the British Empire fall. We have seen Hitler's contribution to history. We have seen the rise and fall of the Berlin Wall. We have seen famines. We have seen wars. As you well imagine, we have seen nothing yet, because in time to come, America will have a black president. In time to come, there's going to be an active world government. In time to come, the world will see human life cheaper than dirt. In time to come, from outer space, aliens will land on the earth. Team Africa will win the World Cup. Marijuana will sell in the shop. Science will produce bread out of stone and then create the first human clone. Technology will reach a new high. Buses and cars will fly in the sky. Trinidad will make a nuclear bomb. In time to come. In time to come. In time to come. Don't doubt that. When tell me. Pampa lo polo pampa la la. Pala balo bo pala lele. Moving from the dark ages, man has progressed in stages. Through the stone and iron age, till we turn another page. And we saw the adventures of Alexander, waging war in his obsession for conquest. Inventions like the chariot and the saber, the weapons that put Europe under duress. Mankind achievements sometimes were great, and his glorious moments mark the passage of time. But wait, in time to come, mankind will have a colony on the moon. In time to come, this calypso will be a top 40 tune. In time to come, scientists will synthesize silver and gold. In time to come, people will have real sex by remote control. The first dead man will come back alive. Cancer and AIDS victims will survive. Babies will born with mustache and beard. Penis and kidneys will be repaired. The government will ban cigarette. Breakfast and lunch will be a tablet. A 2-year-old will split the atom. In time to come. Never hear you? In time to come. One more time. In time to come. For this new millennium, mark my word, it was some strange thing going to happen. What? Some of you going to live to see that. Pala balobo, pala lele. Ba-ba-la. That day when the Wright brothers, after tremendous horrors, got their little plane to soar, all of mankind stood in awe. Just like when that great scholar Benjamin Franklin discovered what would be electricity. And again, when Sir Alexander, that kingpin, give the world the first telephone company. But all of that is a drink of rum in our drinking glasses, compared with what is still to come. In time to come, an asteroid will destroy New York City. In time to come, California will submerge under the sea. In time to come, almost every athlete will be bionic. In time to come, every national park will be Jurassic. Explorers will find El Dorado. Computers will compose Calypso. Man will begin to travel in time. Police will stop adultery and crime. People won't go to church anymore. And there will be a gender world war. Preachers will heal the deaf and the dumb. In time to come. In time to come. In time to come.
Yes, 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 yes. Let me say a special hello to all the WZYE 95.9 FM listeners. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. And we come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. That's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. Let me bring in, it's, I would say 1/4 of, I can't say one DAG Triplets, but no other than,
Yes, yes, City Commissioner, that's good enough.
Commissioner, no other than Marshall Tom E. Nesbitt, boy. Welcome.
Thank you for having me in the village with you. And I want to say a special congratulations to Mrs. LeBourne on reaching that milestone that they call retirement.
Yeah, boy, a milestone, boy. Milestone, boy. No, both of you in retirement, even though I still kinda working. I'm adding the next. This is the 1/3. The next 1/3.
That's the third.
That's the third right there.
That's the first third.
The third. No, that's the second third or the third. No other than Diana, Waveney, Benskin, the Storm, McDonald, boy.
I ain't know about you now. Why Tommy can't come in and show his face sometimes? What's wrong with you? Who you hiding from?
But why you jumping on the show this start?
We frightened for? Yeah, the storm in a stormy mood right now.
Tommy, the show start 2 good minutes yet.
Yeah, in a stormy mood. I have hormones. I have a right to be in any kind of mood I want.
You have hormones?
Yeah.
Really?
Are you happy now?
I have hormones.
Storm, are you happy now?
Yeah, you need to come in sometimes. That's right.
Well, look the man inside.
Good.
Look he inside.
And all this stuff asking me why he ain't showing any face. Like, ask him. Look at him there.
Good evening, family.
Yeah, boy. The phantom, boy. The phantom inside.
So they want to know why I don't show my face?
Not you, Stormy. We know why you don't show. You frightened. But Tommy, we know.
Will you call him man Stormy?
Can't expect the phantom to unmask himself in public. No, come on.
Oh God. What?
They got to read the story about the phantom to know why he doesn't.
It's better you call yourself Zorro.
Zorro? Nah, this is.
What, boy?
The phantom. Can't be no Zorro here.
Hey, the phantom, the storm.
So how is everybody doing tonight?
Yeah, everybody. The storm coming blazing tonight, boy.
Yeah, I have my hormone drink. Don't mess with me.
What drink is that?
I didn't have it. Don't mess with me.
Oh, I thought they said some drink
I would have
or
said it's some TNT white one, you know.
That's not what I'm talking about.
You want from by the main road?
No, it's green.
Green.
It balances the hormones, so I don't rage.
Oh, okay. So we have testosterone and you have hormones, right?
I have hormones.
Oh my.
All right.
Anyway, what we talking about? We talking about Ulrich new trade that he get into. You know, Ulrich selling dogs now, right?
But hey, nothing wrong with that. That's a good business.
Dalmatian for sale. That's what it is.
Yeah, he got it on a discount. You could get it on a discount.
Ulrich no easy, no boy. But we go into that. But Diana, I thought you were supposed to. What say your dog? That dog changed your mind? The dog changed your mind?
The dog has to wean off his mother.
No,
He's a puppy.
No. I don't feel you're telling the truth. The dog ain't changed your mind. Is that he or she?
He's a puppy. You can't just take it from his mother like that. You have to wean him off his mama.
I feel 2 weeks ago that dog was listening to that show. That dog said, he said, boss, don't send me over by that lady. Whatever you do. I'm not going over there.
Well, I already paid on him.
Not
so
by that lady.
Come in here.
No, you can get a refund. Yeah, there's something called refund, right?
He best be coming here or else.
All right. So let me go in. But the chat gone already. It's gone. I can't even keep up. Anyway.
I done buy the bottle for spraying with the water. I done have a belt hanging on the wall. I had the pee pad in the corner there. So he best be coming here.
That dog will be peeing all over the place when he come.
No, he ain't peeing all over. You have to train them.
I'm sorry for that dog, boy. That dog going to pee in a corner.
No, he ain't peeing in no corner. He peeing outside.
No, he going in a corner where we put that fella who used to be in the chat. You know what I mean? He going in the corner with that fella.
No, he ain't going in. He not peeing in here. That's the time he go get a cutter.
Wait, you going to abuse the dog? That had to be a P&M dog. That ought to be a dog from Sumaka Clavancel.
No, it's from Mason Hall.
Nah, he's a dog from Sumaka Clavancel. Daniel, you're wicked. You're wicked. Tommy, you believe that? And Gary?
Start the fun already.
She go and get a P&M dog from Chumaka so she could abuse the dog.
And she called the dog Stormy LeBon, eh?
You better change the name of that dog. Don't put that. What?
She already named it Stormy.
I get enough abuse for living in Chumaka from the P&M. I don't want you to name no dog. I don't want you to name no P&M dog Stormy LeBon.
Where he done chipping, he got his chip prepared and implant into him.
I see Marcia in the house. Welcome back, Marcia.
No, I'm not with that. But anyway, let me say pleasant Takesha, of course.
Therese, Ron, Vonnie Roberts.
Yeah, Takesha reached inside.
Vonnie was early.
But
yeah, Takesha was inside early. So go ahead, Gary. You see the people there, go ahead.
Yeah, you call it out. I just now looking at it over there.
We partner I Mulligan too. He inside.
Yeah.
Vonnie Roberts said the lion is on tonight. Vonnie, know we just bring everybody in the village, you know. Everybody just come in. Hey, Nadia, good night. Good night, Nadia. Nadia, how are you?
Nadia, Mrs. Bourne is listening.
I owe Rose an apology.
For what?
Oh Lord. Wow, she foot get hung up in somewhere else now?
You kicked your next ankle now? You kicked your left ankle.
Oh no, I neglected her on the last show. I accidentally forgot to mention her on the last show.
I didn't see Rose.
Rose, that ain't nothing new with Trini men. I just see a lot of women that just get bamboozled. So, that ain't nothing new.
Where you get that from?
Bazodi, girl. Bazodi.
Bazodi is more like that. Bazodi.
Or let's get bamboozled. One or more skirts.
Let me say hello to Lana.
Hey, Lana.
Yeah, boy. Hey, Fister,
How you doing
show
there?
that's just a party, boy. That's just a party in Sealots and all, you. You know that? You know,
Takesha want to know if he's still now, if he wetting his plant still.
It's plants or it's pants?
Plants.
Oh, I thought you say it's pants.
Plants.
Okay.
She wanted if he wet any plants
Okay.
Well, if you see the dog, Ulrich want to sell me, boy. He says
me
a
see a partner
discount.
Troy Smith here too. If it's stick,
Yeah, boy. You know, boys, real people coming.
So, people in the chat, let's give us an idea what's going on in your neck of the woods in Trinidad and Tobago. What's happening? How are you handling this COVID situation?
Gary, chill out a little bit now. You think we're going to get this? The guests ain't coming on right now.
Well, I'm asking the people. Hey, you know, I just get straight to business. I don't mix matters.
What is this, Anna?
What's this one? This one, we had to start with this tonight, boy, because this them Chinese is the best. All you could say what you want.
Well, what happened here now?
It coming up. It does take a little while, but you know, sometimes it does take, you know, it take a little while to hold up. Let me see it here. Where that one is, boy? Where you going?
If you just run like your videos just come up, I don't know.
No.
You know how you win record.
20 world records, yeah, 20. Where's that one?
Where you running? You running with Moroccois or?
No. Moroccois. Where's that one, Diana Benskin? Tommy
tell you what
Diana be nice.
I don't know why it is only like to beat up on PNM people and anything.
I don't know why they like to beat up on these.
That is not right at all.
All right, look at you. I know, gay. Look at you. Hold on.
He from Chumakak, but he back broad.
Chumakak, boy. Chumonkey bam bam, boy. You know, Diana, didn't you used to say about that?
What?
Didn't you talk about that? Hold on. All right, Diana. All right, we getting it here now. Yeah, come in. I come in.
Fish stick say how he drop it over the wall, the cemetery, the plant in the cemetery. Oh God.
By Ulrich?
Yeah.
All right, Ole, what's this one? What's this?
So I've seen somebody by the name of Puma.
Traffic light nothing. Red light.
That's a box.
Oh my goodness.
Them kill you when you come out or don't come out. If I don't come out, they will say that I don't care. If I come out, they might lick me up. We have to call Gary and Rolling for them. But I've been to that, you know. For the scene, man.
Lord,
should
the
drive
emotion.
They will see me if I drive off. I want to get vaccinated. My butt. Nah, but I come out. Let me work the noise. I mean, pathetic. I can tell them I work. They can tell out. Yeah, they can say I work. Come on, but and if you take your vaccine yet, I didn't check me if you take your vaccine. I give me vaccine shot. I give my free booster. I give my insurance and good. I got you, my insurance and good. Come on, this vehicle, right?
That MOH under real pressure.
Fire. Wait, I'm gonna start with my easy energy. And the fire Gary. Make all fits on me.
Jerry.
Fits on me beats on what to do. What the fuck? And I'm last in the show what time you
God, man, good job.
A small smash up now happened there. I see that slide here. For your boy Terrence here sing. Okay, white Prado there. You know, bring the lights on this man here. Yeah, right by Silas. My boy Terrence here.
All you, them fellas are not easy, you know.
You know, they're
They're not easy.
talented, you know.
Huh?
They're talented too bad, boy.
They're real talented. And let me
Yeah,
tell you,
boy.
let me say, thank you to Street Cred. It's called him is Street Cred, I think. It's Street Cred VA. That fella real talented, boy. Big up Street Cred VA. Fella real talented. Yeah. That talent, you know, he had that thing out, that video come out. In 2 2s, that fella had that thing out, boy. Full 100. Let me say welcome to Lana. Lana, welcome. Them fellas ain't easy.
How come you telling Lana good night whole night? What I'm to you?
No, because I say hello to Keisha.
Lana is the only body in the chat?
No, but Gary say hello to Fish Stick and Troy Smith and them too.
But you say hello to Lana about 10 times.
No, but Lana posts about 10 times. So every time she posts, I tell she hello.
Nadia.
Well, maybe he could not recall. If you cannot recall, you know, at our age, we just can't recall. You know?
Hey,
you ever go to take your medicine?
Speak
you
for
think
yourself.
You take it, and you can't remember if you take the medicine.
Correct.
And you're deliberating for half an hour to figure out if
Speak
you
for
took
yourself, Gary. Speak for yourself, okay? I
Hello,
one bright
Run
Bajan.
Run the MC inside. Gary, you already called Troy Smith. I just going on here real quick. Well, Lana said she was going to play golf today. Lana, what you know about golf? Hey, look, we friend boy. Marcia brave boy. Marcia, you inside girl attacks.
Yeah, give her a shout out there.
Yeah. Marcia brave boy and easy in all you.
Hey, Lana. Lana, you know what golf stands for? GOLF. Gentlemen only, ladies forbidden.
Okay. What?
What's all that about?
Oh, yeah, but just so well.
So stay up behind off the golf course.
Fish sticks in Wall Street like the lucky inside the school, boy. Fish stick was, fish stick.
That Trini for you, the Marco in, you know.
Yeah, always
the Marco in your back.
I don't play the song Marco. A Marco he and a Marco she. That is song?
Good. Them is good Marco. They don't notice your different background already.
Boys, everything, they're quick,
Yeah.
Albert Montano, boy, you're inside, boy. Albert, how it is in Ontario, boy? What is the story?
It's 1 degree up here by me.
What?
It's cold
1
and
degree
snowy up there.
1 stinking degree.
Hey, what? Tommy, watch yourself, eh? Fish sticks it, Tom E. handsome. Cause it can be a threesome. Tommy, you go under that by yourself, eh, partner? I stay out of that.
Anyway, in order to have no confusion, I put my avatar up.
I'm not in that, boss. What? I'm gonna go back and read that, boy. What?
Tommy, go.
Fish stick boy, fish stick boy. Tommy handsome boy. Cause it can't be a threesome. Tommy boy.
Oh Lord.
Tommy, yeah, boy.
Oh Lord. Am I supposed to blush, fish stick?
Claudia. Rose. Joan. I and Lana. Tikisha.
Again, you're calling Lana again. What is with you and Lana? Hey, Miss LeBon hearing you calling this woman whole night, so?
I want them to say I answer, man. Not me, no. I'm not in that.
I tell you, man calling me handsome. What the thing? I tell you. Let me keep my avatar up, so I don't get in trouble.
I stay out of that. Not me, not I. I and I, Jah Rastafari, staying out of that.
I tell you.
But we have a lot of things to talk tonight. A lot of things.
Goodness.
I just want to get to the bottom. Carice, gaming, and scenery. Is that Carice?
I don't know.
Yeah. And I said things going to get more hard in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, that must be Carice, man.
We gonna figure it out.
Yeah, we had to figure it out.
Lana,
hey.
Lana, don't claim it.
I gotta tell her something to do. and on the next show, and if it did, this person don't do it, and then we'll know it is not her.
Okay. Hailey, what tax boy? Hailey inside. Who's that? All right, this is our bot. Let me get rid of that one there.
I already blocked it.
Oh, you're all right. Cool. Okay, just a minute.
Gary was saying hello to the bot.
Hello to the what? Anyway, so
Gary.
our TNT daughter is holding strong in that Miss World contest there.
But Gary, yeah, boy. Let me put that up, Gary, boy. Yeah, boy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No joking, no, boy. I want a woman to win, boy.
Controversy sells, you know.
I want a woman to win, boy.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
boy,
yeah.
Let me go there. All you. And you know what, boy? Let me do something. Let me remove that there. Let me remove this. All you know how we broke down what
video
the last time, eh?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And I listen, boy. Karma, boy. If that woman was to win Miss Wooler, boy, think about
that'd be so wonderful.
I mean, it's like
get down on your knees, family, and pray for this young lady. Somebody could lift the anti-head for a minute there.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to win bad, boy, because the Gaga, I just call them the Gaga PNM gang now. I don't know what the Gaga is.
Who is that?
Go along, get along.
The Gola!
Yeah.
Oh God, I like that.
Get promoted, you know. They get promoted. They go along, get along.
Go and look. Use Lady Gaga name so she don't come for you.
Yeah. No, well, Gaga is go along.
Just don't put lady in front. Don't put lady in front. That's all.
So when this young lady here spoke about the things that she spoke about, and I heard a fella on 91.9 today, and I want to give him a slim out because you know I don't send shout outs. We originate, we don't imitate. And let me go solo here for and send this out there. I listened attentively today to a show with TC and Heavy. And I follow him Love in the House called, Love in the House, full 100. And Love in the House is the first person in Trinidad and Tobago being taken out of the Go Along, Get Along PNM gang. I taken him out. I removed him from the gang. Love in the House called in the program and he said, what you all have to understand is that this is a competition. And in a competition, you have to put your best foot forward. And it will be interesting to find out what the other people from the other countries stated when they talked about the cultural circumstances in their country. And they might think that Miss Trinidad and Tobago may have tried to put Trinidad and Tobago under the bus, right? I absolutely don't see how Miss World tried to throw Trinidad under the bus, boy, because they're saying that she should have said other things. All you help me.
Just keep checking for our guests in the background there.
Yeah.
But the young lady was burdened with the plight of our people. It was on her mind. It was something heavy on her heart. Okay? And she laid it out. And she have 100% support from me on that. She made her cry for her people. And she not only made her cry, she did something about it while she's in her country. She took whatever course of action she could within her limitations to do something. So those criticizing her, I would like to know what they have done.
Now, other participants talked about unfortunate circumstances in their country, but they crouched it, if that's the right word. They sort of did it in a quote-unquote more polished manner. That's what was being shown by some of the critics of our representative from Miss World. They butted it, even though they may have said, look, we have this problem and that problem. They try to say, well, look, we have a great country, this and that great thing is happening, but we have some people who are fell through the cracks and this and that and the other. So that's what some of our local commentators were saying, that yes, she could have said that we have an issue, but she could have done it in a smooth, with more tact, in a more tactful manner. I don't know if there was any way to do that more tactfully, but that was the implication.
Well,
And
let me say, the level of burden, how
opinions.
heavy this thing was on her heart, she just kind of laid it out. You know what I mean? She was very burdened with it.
Well, they wouldn't want to send me nowhere to represent them, because I was going to lay it on the table like it is. The people suffering, the people breathing in sewage all night long, the people sewage seeping up in their homes. They have no jobs. A lot of them got homeless. Yes, they have it's a beautiful place to visit, but these are some of the ills plaguing the nation. You have 500 murders last year. You have 30 already for the year already, and it's only 15 days in the year, and women go missing. And hello, y'all wouldn't want me to go lay it out. We need to fix our nation. We need to fix it. But so Miss Brandt did it in a very polished and calm way. All they want the global ambassador, to go and say it like it is. Because I don't own no, I don't belong to no party. I go tell it like it is.
She did it with integrity and compassion. You want that dishonest person up there?
Tell it like it is.
But Diana,
this is the kind of people you want fighting for you.
Diana,
that's right.
You see, I feel you just make that statement to make me upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you know why, Diana? I upset with Miss Brandt now, because when she go up there, she didn't tell them about the abandoned building sitting in Chumaka for 11 years. She didn't tell them about the unpainted building, 15 years, 10 years.
Maybe she didn't know about them.
Right? She didn't tell them that it have an abandoned building 20 years on Duncan Street. Right? That a person went to make it to the Levantal to Wall Street Empowerment Center, and the PNM, Dr. KCR, get the direct proposal to do it, and Dr. KCR ignored it. I vexed.
Well, wait till we get you in here. Wait till we get you in here. You're going to inform she.
I bet she didn't tell them, but then people beat them, had to go through sewer water, had to smell sewer water. No.
Smell sewage all night long. Oh, yeah. All lucky ain't sent Diana nowhere. Then we were. You know
go ahead, Adam. Go ahead.
Diana, but let's finish. I also vexed, right? I vexed because when the PNM come and they give Levantal a swimming pool and a standpipe, right? And they say drink water and mind your business. I vexed you didn't say that.
My aim, had I had that capacity, would be to get people to invest and help fix the problems of Trinidad and Tobago. That would be my aim. Listen, these are the ills plaguing my nation. Can you all help me to get it straight? That these little girls can go to school, that every child can have a laptop, that everybody can have access to the internet. Can you all help me to fix this, please?
But Diana, now let's say she take that crown now. Don't you think the people who heard her would want to invest in what she is concerned and cares about?
Thank you.
When she takes that crown?
Shoot.
That's why she'll be bringing some investors with her?
That's why I'll be pleading for and can you look at investing in solar panels in these homes? Can you help me with investing with things to invest with hydroponic farming? Do you understand? These people can feed themselves. I'm not interested in no crown. I'm interested in no title. I'm interested in bringing the ills that are plaguing and holding back my nation and bring us out to the slum that we're in.
But Diana,
so we're talking about.
There's something else I vex Janine Brandon talk about. It's about an abandoned building on Nelson Street. Somebody tell me about it, sitting for about 10 to 15 years now. Right? Most of them under the PNM. I vex Janine didn't talk about that. Janine Brand, I had to call she personally and tell I vex now, I mad as hell. She go and tell the people, well, in my country, thousands of children live in poverty. And you ain't talk about the abandoned buildings in Chumaka all the years, Janine? Janine, you went and talk about little girls sleeping on the floor. in nature form, which is true, and you ain't talk about your back. Janine, don't get me vexed, you know.
I tell leave her alone. Leave Janine alone. Yeah.
I vex with you now.
Don't worry, that your problem. Stay mad and I'll get glad.
I vex.
Okay.
So Janine, I vex too, you know, because you tell them they have no access to running water and electricity. Janine, you're making me mad now, you know. I feel like a cuss today earlier.
No, you ain't cussing.
No,
yeah, if you cuss, go and dance with your wife.
Okay, all right. Master Brave boy, Master Brave boy say just like Rowley and Camis. What is that, Master? What is that one, Master?
She's saying Duke fool the public boy.
What do you mean fool the public? Because he take the vaccine? Nobody enforced him to take no vaccine.
That was
She said he take a vitamin shot just like Rolly and Cami.
Oh God.
To me, we go
be careful. Be careful with it.
Remember, I went out on a limb, right? But the limb was very thick, a branch. And I
but you ain't weigh that much.
Why you have to bring my what is this one,
Diana, you hitting some low shots.
Dr. Ramroop, eh?
Yeah, we're going to bring him in. Mr. Ramroop, Dr. Ramroop, I see you. We're going to bring you in shortly. Diana, you trying to get personal now?
I'm not trying to get personal. I tell you, you ain't way. You could have gone on a twig. The twig, you're still up there. Now,
You're talking about Twiggy in Smart.
No, I am not talking about no Twiggy.
Oh,
okay, if I have to talk to Twiggy, I got Twiggy number. I got Twiggy number. I could call she.
All right. You call Twiggy. All right.
Anselm, out of the 4 agreements, that's number 2. Take nothing personally.
Yep.
Okay, all right. I go take it back. I ain't taking it personal. All right, let's bring in Dr. Ramroop.
Dr. Ramroop must say we 4 crazy people.
Yeah, 4 sort of mad people in this.
Dr. Ramroop, don't put me in it here. I am the Bajan. I have more sense than the rest of them. Eh?
Dr. Stephen Ramroop, there's 4 mad people in this village. So don't take it too serious. Of course, Dr. Ramroop, let's say welcome to In the Village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Of course, we have with us here, the D is Diana. Diana is considered to be the storm. A is myself. I am Anselm. They also call me Wall Street. The G is Gary. Gary is considered to be the Phantom. I hear Diana came some kind of Zorro name just now. I don't know where she get that from.
They're trying to unmask the Phantom. That's the thing about it.
And the 4th person we have is Tommy E. Nisbet. He's a commissioner here in Newark. Welcome, Dr. Ramroop.
It's nice to be here. Good evening.
Good evening.
So how are you going, boss?
Well, fine. Retired and enjoying my retirement.
Way to go. You went to Hawaii yet?
No, not as yet. We were supposed to go in 2020. We were supposed to go in 2020, but for Rotary, we had our international conference in Hawaii. And our family was supposed to meet there. My girls from Toronto. And, we were supposed to meet there, but unfortunately, they had to postpone it because of the COVID. Yeah.
Very nice there. Almost like Trini.
Yeah, I can't wait to go and do some luha and try to put on those skirts.
Yeah, I bet you want to go luha. I hope your wife beat you with one of them.
I have to get. I just can't wait to get that pork. I just can't wait to get that pork.
That most men they want to go do. Imagine I went to Hawaii with a fella and all he was watching the girl with the luha. Well, I take the luha and I beat him with it. Well, let me go ahead.
We'll have to get a luhi. We'll have to get a luhi for my wife to look at while I'm looking at the luha.
He fit in perfectly.
Or the luha, Yeah. We'll work it. Don't worry.
Could imagine dancing some chutney music to that. That's cute.
Oh my god.
Hawaiian style.
I'd love to visualize that. When we have some, we could probably do that and we don't even know. You know that?
Yeah, we're gonna be dancing to Kuchikan.
Yes.
So Dr. Ramroop, you are an orthopedic surgeon.
Orthopedic and trauma, yes. I recently got my master's in forensic medicine because when I left ODPM in 2017, I couldn't get a job anywhere. So I decided to go and do some more studies because maybe crime pays. And I decided to do a Master's of Science in Forensic Medicine at the University of Florida, which I completed about a month ago. I got I graduated with my GPS of 3.96. So
What?
I am
96, boy.
I am
Up to that point 04. What happened? What happened to the point 04?
I was distracted, you know. I was distracted.
Yeah, by Aloha. By Aloha.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait now. You said you couldn't get a job in 2017?
Well, we applied. I applied. I mean, I mean, up till recently, I applied for a job as director of health at the Southwest, and I wasn't chosen. You know, since then, I've never been, because what happened is that I worked in ODPM from 2011 to 2017. And you only allowed 5 years out of the public service. I was granted a secondment, you know, like no pay leave. So what I did is I decided to stay the extra year in ODPM and finish what I was doing, you know, to wrap up, because I know they wouldn't keep me. And when I went back to go back in the hospital, because, you know, you exceed your 5 years, no pay leave, I knew that I would have been out of a job, but I took the chance because I thought maybe good sense would have prevailed. Well, I applied for everything that you could think about. And unfortunately, nothing came my way. So I just had to do some private work. I do some courses at UTT in teaching disaster risk management and business continuity planning, healthcare management, because, you know, I also have an MBA in healthcare management, you know, so I do some teaching there in UTT whenever we have the courses. I actually develop courses for UTT, and basically that's it. I'm home. I do a little practice, not much again, you know, just enough to keep me surviving.
But orthopedic is the one where you fix the knees, right?
Well, orthopedic is more bone, ortho meaning bone, bone and joint, spine, sports medicine, you know, general orthopedics. I do a lot more work in like the spinal areas, and because you know it's very interesting there, neck and back, you know.
No,
well, I had my knee replaced, so that's why I know orthopedic.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Ramroop, you were also medical director of the San Fernando General Hospital.
Yes.
I can't understand how I followed all these credentials sitting at home from 2000.
Well, you know, it is what it is. I think that's one of the problems we have in our developing countries. I'm not casting any aspersions, but the intervention of politics in most of the in most of the emergency fields is not good. I personally feel that a lot of other countries where they have gone over that hurdle, where they hire persons who are have what we call task-related competencies. You know, that means you're fit for the job because you have the qualifications, the experience. So they find excuses. Of course, it's very easy. I mean, I sat in many panels, and it's very easy to fail someone, you know, in an interview. I mean, it's very easy, because especially if you know who you want. You know, so once you know that, you realize that you're at a disadvantage in those interviews from the beginning. But, you know, it's fun because you go there and you give them some little lessons, and then you realize that they could never, ever implement what you tell them, no matter what, because they just don't have the skills. And then they go and hire someone who is, you know, for example, one of the problems we have in medicine is that you put doctors as leaders in healthcare. Unfortunately, doctors don't make good managers in healthcare. Unless you go and you do a management master's or degree, because you know we you know, you have to separate leaders and managers from clinicians and persons who have experience in the clinical areas. It's not the same thing. Management is an expertise.
So you see why our country is having so much of a trouble.
Yes, management. There's a big management loophole, and unfortunately, because of politics, and I'm not saying one specific government, all governments. And I have been around now for 6 years, and I mean, I have seen from when I became conscious about employment, and I have seen this nonsense happen over and over and over again. So that it's not happening with one government. So you can't say specifically. It happens all over, and in Trinidad and places like Guyana, it's even more. So that is why we reached a stage, because we did so much work at ODPM, right? We had actually gone in Japan, and we learned quite a lot of what Japanese were doing in terms of flooding in cities. And we were looking at materials that you could have put in car parks, and we would have asked corporate people like banks to resurface their car parks and whatever in the city, right? All the new car parks in Sapa and Napa, all in the higher areas in Maraval. And once rain falls, it collects in these little, you know, these little cells, so that the amount of water that is going onto your roadways, which become almost like rivers, would be decreased. And these people in Japan, they actually brought us, they paid for us, they taught us and in the Caribbean, and very few of us are doing it, because once a government changes, it means that everything that you do in that, they just move it and bring somebody else, and it's almost like a reboot of your computer. It starts all over.
So this is something that I've been trying for a long time. I wanted to really get you in here, is the disaster preparation for a country. I saw the chaos in 2017 when Brett hit the country, and how unprepared and unorganized the response was.
Yes.
And haphazard,
Yes.
And how they're claiming to be doing this and doing that, and really it wasn't.
Well, it's sad. It's common sense. You guys, I mean, you all understand pretty much how the body works, because I'm a doctor, and I tend to know that a little more than the others. And it's a very simple system, and that is why we have evolved to what we are now. I mean, we are going to be sending people to Mars, and we are actually going deeper into the atom. We are beautiful people. Every time you sit in a plane and you go to another country, you'll realize how beautiful the human being is. So that we are so orchestrated and organized that we have one brain, and the liver cannot do anything without the brain knowing. Now, what they did when I left, we had a central clearinghouse of information. So whenever an incident occurred in any part of the country, right, we had what we call early warning systems. We had people with ham radios. When everything else was down, they would call back to the ODPM. So we had this what we call situational awareness. And we hooked it up to what we call the NOC at the time, the National Operations Center. This was like a brain. So it watched everything, and it was evolving. Now, when you come now and I leave, and then you take and you put, if you have a problem in any one of the corporation, call that corporation number. Now, that means a person leaving Diego Martin and coming to David to buy doubles has to traverse about three corporations. So if there's anything in any way, he has 3 numbers to call. And then when we went with a call center called 511, where we hired operators 24/7 to pick up your call, so that when the incident started to scale up, so that if you had 5 calls in Diego Martin with a flood, and all of a sudden it went to 10, and all of a sudden it went to 100, and all of a sudden it went to 1,000, what happened is that the operators now, they scaled up, because you're only paying 1 or 2 in peacetime. But as soon as the disaster evolved, you scale up your operators. So your queue time in that one number when you call, so you don't have to call 14 corporation numbers. And that is why they had the disaster in Brett. That is why they had all the problems when they had the flooding during the Diwali. That is why you had people who nearly died, and a fella had to take a boat and go and rescue them, because the first responders were not getting the information from one brain, from one center. What they do is they disperse the calls to 14 centers in Tobago. That means 15 calls, 15 areas you have to call, rather than having one central command where all the calls come. In other countries, you call that a 911 system.
Center.
Yeah, so if you go to any state in Europe, or any state in Singapore, or any state in the United States, what happened, any of the counties even, although the actual number is not, you call 911, it reroutes, it goes into a system, and then an operator will patch it through to the nearest response agency. So if you call the 911 or the 511 and say, listen, I have a cat on my tree, right? They don't send the ambulance, they send the fire service. If you say, I'm in an accident on the highway and my wife is not moving, right? What do? She's pinned. They send the police will come first. They normally respond first because they're on the highway. They will send the ambulance and they will send the fire. You see? Now, if you have to make 3 calls, that is chaos. That is craziness. You must be able to make 1 call. So this is just one aspect, my partner. This is just one thing that we started to build. As you can imagine, I was there from 2011. I only started working really in 2012. So that when you leave now, and when this government won the election in 2016, for that whole year, there was nothing being done. We couldn't do anything in 1 year. Once a government takes over, that year that the government takes over, there's a lot of auditing and checking to see what the guys before did. And then when another government comes in, a whole year again occurs. So you lose 2 years. And that's a fact. That's a problem.
But Dr. Ramroop, we live here, we understand, I call 911, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Why do you think these things are so tardy in being implemented in Trinidad when lives are, at stake? Women. What's called? Is it politics or is it just corruption?
Yes. No, I think no. Corruption has a part to play in it, as you know. I mean, the thing about all human beings is we have our weaknesses, we have our frailties, you know, and no human being is perfect. And I mean, if you're a religious person, you say that's why Jesus Christ was sent to save us all. You know, that's why Shiva is coming back. The point is, we are all human beings, and we have already been. We will have those weak times. So yes, that is nature. But if it is managed properly, it's like you can understand in a class of children, and you are the teacher. You will know who comes first and who comes last. You will know how to manage. You'll know the weak ones. If your children, you look at your 3 children, you'll know who comes in a bit sick in the evening. So the point about it is, if you manage your household, if you manage your government, if you could deal with issues, because corruption will always keep coming up. So really and truly, it's a management gap we have. And the problem with that is when a new government comes, what they do, they insert persons, right, who are not, let's put it, square pegs in round holes, so to speak. You might have the odd correct match. You might have the odd match. But what happens most of the times, they put people in management positions. So when they go there now, a lot of the problems, we have a lot of ego, you know, in the Caribbean, a lot of the countries, we have a lot of ego. Ego is a problem. So if Ramroop does something, and you find that Ramroop is achieving something and he has set sustainable goals, he's aligned himself to the Sendai strategy, to the CARICOM strategy for disaster risk reduction, and you say, my God, you know, you now is, you know what, I'm going to do something different, because, you know, Ramroop, you know, I could do it better than him.
Exactly. I could do better than he. Yeah.
You could start and you're going to start all over again, and then you change everything that you put in without understanding the science behind it. That's the same thing happening with COVID. See, a lot of people is not understanding the science, and that is why we are in the situation we are in now.
Muted. Hello?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So that is why we are in the position that we are in now. And I think the answer to the question is any country. I mean, I've been in Canada. I've done work in Europe. I know persons in other countries. They are grappling with corruption in Canada. You have a certain type of corruption in the United States, but it's not as bad because of the legislation. There is also a person, I mean, Trump came in and he put a lot of his own people there. You have it in all countries, yes? But the difference is that in a lot of systems like emergency systems, healthcare systems, right? Any system that affects the life or livelihoods of people in a short term, you cannot put persons who are not who don't have task-related competencies. In other words, then you cannot put square pegs in round holes. And I think that has been the problem. And that is where we need to, because when I came in, we aligned ourselves to strategic plans that were international, regional, global, and hemispheric. Yes? When it came to disaster risk reduction. Things like flooding and tsunamis and getting your community resilient. We approached it at a community level, and that's the science. The other science and philosophy about water is, I mean, you can see that when you go to New Orleans or you go to Holland, right? You don't defend, you don't block the water, you live with your water. The philosophy of water is you have to embrace the water, let the water go through. You understand? So when you have people who actually now going to develop Port of Spain, and every time you have an afternoon shower in the crop time, you have flood, because the streets are all backed up. And when you look at the garbage and the Kentucky Fried boxes and the Royal Castle boxes and the Styrotex, it blocks up the small holes. And the city's drainage system didn't develop, it didn't evolve to look at all the problems we're having right now with litter. When you go down the islands, so beautiful. As soon as the afternoon showers come, you can see all the garbage coming down the islands, you know? So we do have a lot of very simple things to deal with. And even when you're going on the roads, you're driving from San Fernando to Port of Spain, right? And the people are working. All of a sudden, you see a cone, then you see the people working. Now, these things are really crazy, because when you consider the loss of a life or the endangerment of a worker, you have to see, and you see this in your countries, you see that in Europe, you see a sign, workers 300 meters ahead, workers 200 meters ahead, workers 100. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. And here it is, you have these very simple things. All of a sudden you see a cone and you have to brake because these guys just start to work and they're fixing the road, but they have no sort of pre-warning. And then there are fines, as you can well imagine. There are fines. Once you go now and they tell you you have to slow down now, your speed limit is 100 kilometers, but you have now two workers ahead, 300 meters, 200 meters. Every 100 meters, there's an increased fine if you exceed the new speed limit. But in our country, they think is 100 right through, you see, and there is no enforcement. And what we were doing at the time when I was there is that we had the National Operations Center. So we had actually put a lot of cameras on the highway, and we were monitoring the people that were driving. So eventually it would have evolved into a system where you were able to monitor speeds and then able to control your speeds. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to London and you travel from Gatwick and you're going out to London, you'll notice some little things across the road, and then they will tell you, okay, your new speed limit is 40 kilometers per hour. And your new speed limit is 30 kilometers per hour. Because what they do now, they grade the traffic between when you leave Gatwick to when you go to London. So they try to pace the traffic, and the computer keeps the traffic at different levels so you don't have backup. We live in a simple country. It's a small country, and we could achieve these little things. You know?
A small country, a lot of money, and it's not properly well managed. So the way I see it is they went and tore buildings and they didn't do the site preparation for this infrastructure. You know, the drainage wasn't prepared. You know, we didn't consider these things. We went and destroyed buildings and created more chaos, you know.
Gary, look at Maracas Beach, right? You go Nice in France, right? You go to any one of the coastal things in Miami Beach or whatever, right? And what happens? You have a beach, you have a boardwalk, you have a road, right? You have the shops, and you have a car park, right? And shops on the other side. What we have now, we have a beach, and we have buildings, right? Then we have a road, and then we have a car park, and then we have a swamp. You see?
Yeah, a couple shots here and there.
You understand? I mean, whenever you have surge tides, like the spring tides, and surge waves, it goes right into the sheds, and even the car park gets water.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I was sharing the idea of you know, I am not sure if you've been to New Jersey, where down Seaside Heights, where we have the boardwalk and stuff like that, or Atlantic City.
Yes.
So that's the kind of concept I was sharing with them, and I also shared the idea of the water of the harbor in Maryland, in Baltimore there, the Baltimore harbor idea of the restaurants alongside the kind of you know promote our tourism and you know business.
Yes.
You know, but you know how things goes. Well, anyway, go ahead.
But it is what it is. I mean, the thing about it is that you know the question is very simple. Look at what is happening in the
Top of the hour.
So look, Dr. Ramroop, give us 1 minute here.
Sure.
Let me just fix this here. Hold a minute. Just now, guys.
Top of the hour.
Got a little tangled here. So folks, of course, we have with us Dr. Ramroop, and you know when individuals come in the village, there's always knowledge and education sharing in the village. So let's go for a quick station identification. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. Let's go for a quick station identification. I'll be right back. Stick and stay. Don't go nowhere. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
We are back to Truth in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Of course, we have with us tonight Dr. Stephen Ramroop, and he's joining us. A man with many credentials there in Trinidad and Tobago, and giving us a lot of information regarding the ODPM. So let's continue with the discussion. Go ahead, Dr. Ramroop.
Yeah, so, you know, we were talking about sustainable development and what we put in place for children. And I think that we did some studies when we were working with United Nations UNDP program, and we had some consultants come in when I was the CEO of the ODPM. And we looked at things like, you know, how we were dealing with our disaster risk reduction issues. And they did find, especially on our healthcare emergency systems. And one of the findings the most important was, of course, the interference of politics at the management level. We don't have a problem at the executive level or, you know, even the enterprise level where the boards are. But at least the senior executives of the public service and the management level, they should be competent. That's one. The second thing that we noted was data, the management of data, the sharing of data, the actual data mining, and how data are collected and retrieved and shared. What we found that a lot of problems in terms of we could be going forward, but the way that we use data, we have them in silos. So we had a problem where we find that the Water Resource Agency and WASA, they had quite a lot of data, right? The GMRTT, the ambulance system, they had data. But everyone has a bit of data, but they're not sharing that data. And therefore, we can't integrate systems. We can't look at information, and we cannot use information in a very efficient and effective way. You see? And when it comes to healthcare, since we are a public healthcare system, not just efficiency and effectiveness, we have to look at the quality of healthcare, because the bottom line was never profit. The bottom line in the public system was quality healthcare. So this is where now you put CEOs there, and you bring CEOs from outside. You even put CEOs who are doctors who are not trained in management. And I think that's a recipe for disaster. You understand? Because when you start talking about Six Sigma and the ISO 2015-9001, QMS systems to be incorporated into your Six Sigma program, or the Malcolm Baldrige Awards for healthcare assessment. When you start talking about accreditation standards and the implementation of accredited standards to determine the patient's right charter and make sure that the patient is afforded a very good environment of care and he gets access to healthcare very rapidly. I mean, I'm telling you, none of these guys have a clue as to what I'm talking about there. They may have read it. They might have read it when they read the Harvard Business Journal, but they are not able to put it into practice and integrate it. Right now, we have silos. The Tobago Regional Health Authority, the Eastern Regional Health Authority, the Southwest Regional Health Authority, North Central, and Northwest. You have all of these health authorities, right? And they're not integrated. We don't have an integrated system of comparison and trending. For example, what is your ICU mortality rate in Southwest compared to your ICU mortality rate in Eastern, assuming that we have national standards for ICU care, etc. You know? So, I mean, I could go on, but I hope you understand the main reason why you say we are a beautiful country. I mean, when you come to Trinidad, you think you're in Miami. A lot of the people from the Caribbean who come down here, it's nice. We have clean roads in most places, a lot of potholes now, and we have potholes in potholes. But I think that is just because of the economy and the way that we have been grappling with the funds since, I would say, somewhere around 2015, 2016. As whilst I was in ODPM in 2015, 2016, funds started to decrease. Even during the previous government, we had shortage of funds. So that I can imagine that when in 2016, when this government came in, they really had a quandary. They had a lot of problems. Because a lot of the things that they could have gone forward with, they just didn't have the funding for it. So right now with the COVID, that didn't help at all, obviously. Yes?
No,
so
no, Dr.
But I think priority with spending
Dr.
should
Ramroop.
be taken. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Dr. Stephen,
yes.
There's a question from in the chat, right? Somebody says, town and country allow illegal buildings along the roadway at Mount Hope Hospital. The entrance of the maternity hospital, it's an illegal fire hazard. Why are they not given notice to be demolished, if you know?
Well, the thing about it is that, and to be honest with you, I have a building, right, which is in the south, just next to where Kamala Prasad Bissessa lives. I'm her neighbor, actually. And I had a problem in that what happened is that I was away at the time, and my builder apparently moved the building maybe about 4 feet closer to the roadside, right? And when time come to get the approval, I realized that the corporation, which is the Penal DB, they told me that it's illegal, and I had to break down the building, right? And then a little further down, there's a barbecue place where the actual barbecue is being sold on the pavement, you see? So the answer to that is when we were in ODPM and we worked with Town and Country, they were not able to regulate the current building practices, right? When it comes to having places close to the road, there was a lot of inconsistencies. And I will go back to the time when many years ago, my father, we built a house in St. John's Village, which is not too far from where I live now in Philippines. It's a little house over the road by a school. And we had to bribe the guy to pass the plan, right, in Town and Country. and we had to bribe the guy to pass the plan in the regional corporation, right? So one of the things, and I know that for a fact, and I know that when I built my house here in Palmis, I had to do the same. So that has always been a problem, where illegal houses, or for example, when persons expand. I mean, many of you all who know in your country, and I mean in Canada, for example, you can't even build a basement. You can't even add on a door in your house unless you get an approval. When the builder comes, he has to show you his certification and his most recent certification. Now, there is in Trinidad the Bureau of Standards, and they have a small builders and a small building code, and they have a small building regulations, where a lot of what I'm talking about is supposed to be done. But we do not have a national building code. We have not reviewed our national building code. And therefore, our things like flooding, extension of your property, building a house or extension close to the road, all of these, it's not backed up by regulations or legislation. And a lot of the legislation is poor, and the enforcement is also irregular. So that, for example, if somebody who builds close to the road, like the barbecue guy or myself, I had to break down because I was head of ODPM at the time. Clearly, I can't be trying to change best practice when I myself had a building close to the road, and I had to break it down, if you know what I mean. Yes? But so far, the guys still sell the barbecue on the road. So therefore, they came and they break down mines, but they didn't go back and break his own, or enforce that. So these are the kind of irregularities that people can take to court. So there needs to be, again, it comes down, if you understand what I'm saying, to management. The public service is very bureaucratic. One of the biggest problems we have is data, again, because as you can well imagine, town and country has a lot to do with data management, right? Storage of plans and whatever. I recently, I'm looking at purchasing 2 pieces of land in Mayaro. And I know the chairman very well. I called him and I said, I need some help. Because what we wanted to do is to find out the cadastral sheet for the area, to see now the adjacent plots. Because there's a law that says if you go to survey a particular plot of land, you need to inform the other neighbors, if possible. Yes? And there is no copy of that cadastral sheet. Instead, he indicated that he might have to photocopy it, or get somebody to take a picture of it and send it to me. But it doesn't exist. The guy said, the draftsman said it doesn't exist. He doesn't know where it is and he can't find it. So you see, if you understand what I'm saying, in answer to your question, a simple thing like enforcement of a regulation, the regulation, it's in limbo. Is there legislation to cover that, to break down those buildings? That's another problem. Because Ramroop has built his house on the corner. This guy has built his house in the corner. So this guy will say, look, you know what? Let them break it down first and I will break down mine. Now, these are the kind of things that we have. And they have to grapple with that. So it's almost like rebooting the computer, so to speak, getting your data sorted out, going back, getting zoning, because the biggest problem we have now is zoning. People continuously and perennially complain about flooding. They're losing their crops. But they're living on a river. They're living on a riverbed. And they're planting on the riverbed, which is in a flood zone. You understand? And every year, the Rotary Club, I'm a Rotarian now for over 30 years. Every year, Rotary Clubs and all sort of donor organizations, and they go and they give these people food, and they give them hampers, and the government gives grants, and they give stoves, and they give crop grants and everything else. And when the flood comes next year, it happens again. No, I mean, it's a real problem. It's a real problem.
Dr. Ramroop, we in the village have been paying close attention to what's been going on in the B-town. We recognize that the politicians don't really have the best interests of the residents at heart. But I was thinking maybe the healthcare professionals could impress upon those authorities that is a critical situation, that is even a health emergency, and have them act expeditiously to fix that problem.
Correct.
What's
you're
your thought?
Absolutely correct. No, you are absolutely correct. Primarily, it's a public health problem. Whether it is caused by other, what we should say, criminal elements, right, that went and stole the pump, and there were a lot of thefts with respect to the station where they actually put equipment there, to fix the area, and they went and they stole it. Whatever the cause, it is a public health problem. and it will eventually lead to health issues, especially now in COVID, where you don't want to have admissions to hospital, or you don't want to exhaust your healthcare resources. So I agree with you. There must be a lot of emphasis, whether or not there are whatever the cause. The primary concern right now is a public health concern, and that needs to be dealt with rapidly, right?
Well,
even if it means that you have to evacuate the people because it's a disaster. I mean, it is a public health disaster.
that's how we all see it here. And we have raw
yes,
sewage coming up in the people's houses, and we
no,
can't
it is
tell
a
them to hold
public
on.
health disaster, and it is an excellent opportunity to actually remove these people and try to put them in another area. Now, a lot of these people do not want to move, right? Because again, we have a problem when we had flooding, and one of the experiences that we have had is that when we had flooding, you see pictures in Trinidad where Rotary clubs and politicians taking boats, right, and dinghies to go in to a village and give people food and water and taking pictures, when they should be removing these people from the hazard. Do you know what I mean? It's the reverse of what needs to happen. Anytime there's more than an ankle depth of water that is flowing from any person, you need to move them out and put them in a shelter, whether it's a shelter by their friends or their family, or whether it is a shelter in place or whether it's a government shelter. They need to be removed. And the same principle of disaster management has to go. But these people, a lot of people are refused to leave their homes in the flooding. And a lot of that has to do with crime. A lot of that has to do with joint task force with the military. In other words, then, if the military is able to secure the homes and the government is give the people the assurance that when they leave their homes, people wouldn't go into their homes, because that's a lot of the problems that we have here. The people just don't want to go. So we do have that problem with respect to where crime comes into these high-risk areas when it comes to that. But the people must be evacuated by they didn't have a choice in this. It will be mandatory evacuation. You see, a lot of times we try to tell people, in most of our laws, I mean, when you look at Florida state and you look at other countries, there is a certain time when the government implements mandatory evacuation. Most of the times it's voluntary. But definitely, if a huge storm is coming in the Keys, everybody has to evacuate, correct? So, in other words, then, we don't have mandatory evacuation, right? Our disaster legislation is archaic, right? And when we attempted to renew the disaster legislation at the time, I remember speaking to the then Attorney General, and I said, sir, we know we have to go to the Ministry of Legal Affairs, but could your legal draft people assist us in looking at reviewing? We already did the review. We already have the new legislation that we got an attorney and we had a big set of panchayat to get it done. Could you look at doing it? And he said, Doc, we have more important things to do at this time. That was his answer to me. You understand?
Wow.
So this is the problem that we have had, in that we even now, one of the problems we have in a lot of the countries, like even Bahamas and some of the other countries like Dominica, and recently when we had the storms and the hurricanes and then the volcanoes and whatever, a lot of the problems, you send stuff to Trinidad or other country, the customs laws are so archaic. You see, we had 23 pieces of legislation that needed amendment, and added pieces to upgrade our Disaster Measures Act, right, to cater for the issues that we're talking about in the BTOM, right, where we could have said, listen, this is a public health crisis. Our children, our people are going to be affected permanently. We need to remove you to X, Y, and Z. And we have the place. We do have the place. Trinidad has place. We could move them, right? Okay, so if you say that we have to move you by force, right, and you have to have the laws to do that, and public health is a law to protect the people from themselves, you have to move them. There is no other choice. You see, now, if you say that 3 people decide to stay, at least the number of people exposed to that health emergency is just 3. So in other words, and if you say that you evacuate 60%, you're still better off than 100%. Isn't that so? So that is what you have to do. Yeah.
So Dr. Ramroop, I agree with you. If public health is a law and they're doing it to enforce the pandemic, social distancing and SOE and whatnot, why can't they use that situation in the BTOM is a public health emergency?
Well,
if people are, one of the activists, not to cross you, sir, one of the activists said there was an outbreak of cholera. One person had a case of cholera there, lesions are breaking out on the children's skin. People are having sore throats and stuff. It sounds like, you know, it's bad. It's getting, you know, they need to be moved from there. That's a public health emergency.
Well,
And
no, you're correct. One of the things that I must assure you that is our healthcare personnel, especially the CMOH in that area, and the doctors who and the nurses and the environmental persons who are there, they do have.
Ansel, I'm hearing something.
Yeah, it's okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Right, and they do have a pretty good understanding of what is happening. When I was told by Gary that this would be one of the topics, I contacted a couple of my colleagues who were able to put me on to the real facts, not the news that are coming on social media, which you have to be careful of. And they have it under control in the sense that they know the people who have illnesses. They have done some work, and they have been advising, you know, the politicians as well as the Ministry of National Security and other persons. But the problem there, I guess you guys will understand, in that area, it's a very complex political, socioeconomic issue for all governments. It's a very complex situation. Crime is a very important factor, but not all people are criminals. So the problem is that you have a situation where governments they have to tread very carefully in that area. And I think the reason for that is that over the years it has become that way. Many of you all in the United States, even Canada, you know, you have your little populations, your urban populations that behave the same way. There are certain areas and that you would find that there's some ghetto areas that you just can't go in, or the way that you deal with it is not the same. You have to deal with it in a different way. And trust me, there are a lot of good people who are working there. So, I mean, I must assure you that public health and the doctors and the clinicians and the nurses, they know what is going on. They are working on it. I know for a fact that government has implemented some measures over the last few days to deal with the issue. And you have to be very careful with what is coming out of social media. However, the situation is still very bad. And I agree with you. It is a public health issue. But I think that let's put it this way. It is not politically correct to do it the correct way, if you know what I mean. And I think that is the problem. And some people are going to suffer because of that, and people are going to get sick if it continues. It needs to be rectified within the next few days. And I think the only thing that we can do is to move these people away from the area of hazard, right? Which is a very simple measure. I think they have to go in. They have to go in with some facilitatory workers, some social workers, people they trust, some maybe religious people who are there, some sports people. Go in with the people, meet with them, have some dialogue, and convince them to get away from the site while the authorities could go in peacefully, with the help of the army maybe even, and try to protect the areas, get rid of the problem as much as possible, because there's a solution to the problem, right? There's a solution to it. It just needs a integrated approach.
A combination of things, yes, and the situation is so hazardous that it warrants an extraction immediately. There is no luxury of time for us. I can see that, and I'm no expert. That's why I brought you in here to consult with you on this.
Yeah, that is correct. Yes.
And that's the way I basically saw it, and absolutely with the military involved. So it has to be an extraction with full force.
Yes.
And the people relocated, and we do have the place. We have a lot of empty houses all over the place.
Yes. And maybe some of them might like it, and then you might be able to move them and get them to like it, and then develop your city.
Well, the thing about it is the people have to understand. You see, if the people is misinformed that we are trying to ambush them in some other way, and be more destructive than trying to assist them, and they get a little education, as you say, send the social worker, and you try to show them what we're trying to do for them.
Yes,
and they gain that trust. It is a lot easier to move them than you just barge in there. And they give you the impression that the government wanted for their friends and are not trying to save their life. Then we need to clarify all that misinformation.
Absolutely.
But Gary, if you are inhaling the smell of sewage day and night, it's in your home, it's in your pump, your water is compromised, your children breaking out in sores, your sore throat. How are people ambushing you in fighting for you to get a better place to live?
You have to understand the culture there, and the history there, you know, I mean, we will see it like that, but some people will see it as we trying to pull a fast one on them or a 6 or a 9.
Yeah,
you
the
know.
trust issues have become pathological in that area, and
Yes, so
that is why it has been a nightmare for city planners, for for even social workers, for us, even in terms of disaster risk reduction and resiliency planning, because as you can well imagine, if we have a major disaster or a catastrophic disaster that hits Port of Spain or it's going to hit Port of Spain, we have a major challenge in terms of that area, in terms of the other areas, because if you look at where that boundaries into Port of Spain, and then just on the western side, you have a different society, a different socioeconomic level, even north of the Port of Spain. You understand? So really and truly, it has always been a challenge to us when we looked at egress and evacuation of that city, and how we are going to put people if we do really have a problem in the city that we needed to evacuate people very rapidly or put them in shelters. You understand? So it has always been a logistical nightmare, and there has always been a problem, and this has actually grown. And that urban population, it is very high risk. They are high risk not just in terms of public health emergencies, but other disasters, other hazards as well.
Well,
So
that area is a landfill area, and just by that alone makes it toxic, because here in the States, we got all this radium gas and all these things that are causing cancer. And I heard about lead poisoning from one doctor some years ago. So but without the sewage spilling into the place, that alone is making the place toxic.
Yes.
And I don't think these people were properly informed and educated.
And it's a sad thing when you go sometimes and you sit in a Hyatt, you smell the dump, and a beautiful city like Port of Spain with all those lovely skyscrapers we have, to be coming into the city, smelling the dump on your left hand side and looking at the houses that are very high risk on the right side. And even if you have a protest and they block the road, you have major pile up to Gasperlo in the south, on a morning. So it's really a nightmare. But I think that somebody once and for all at the government level, at the executive level, needs to actually sort this problem once and for all. We need to really deal with zoning of the city, and we have to be very firm. I think Port of Spain, it can only be done in that manner, where we would have to get the people to remove themselves from there. We did try it once when I was there with the dump. We were trying to relocate the dump and move it from there, but a lot of persons who gained their livelihood from that was the problem. And they had more political clout than we had at the time to move that dump from there, So it was
even though it was a life-threatening situation. I'm happy you're bringing that information forward.
Yes.
But Dr. Ramroop, I mean, common sense has to prevail. I mean, I try to. I don't have any children, but if I had children and I was in that area, do I want this for my children, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren? Because you begin to think legacy and what you're going to leave behind and how you're going to leave your future generation behind. Now, I would think common sense would have to prevent. Say, look, I had enough of this. I don't want to be here. And I asked the activists if the government can locate them and put them somewhere where they can plant, grow their own food. They have a nice spot, and they can form a corporation or something, co-op, and sustain themselves. Would they like that? Wouldn't that be better living?
Well, one of the problems,
I think that would be better living.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I'm not saying it's a difficult thing. I think
nobody is saying you can't vote for who you want to vote for when they put you there, but at least you're situated in a better position.
Yeah, I think that offer has to come on the table. I think that should be one of the solutions. The second thing is that maybe the individual himself rather than the groups, because I think the peer influence in that area is very high. I remember we did a drill recently when I was in ODPM, we did a drill in a similar community, and they're very, very well connected and they communicate very effectively amongst themselves very rapidly. And there's a lot of influence by certain people in that community. So although an individual may want to move out into another area, I think the influence of other people has a lot to do with it for their own reasons, you see? So I think that maybe, again, if the team goes down as a multi-sectoral team, and they look at individual and they explain and they look at the actual health. I think
We're hearing some kind of music coming from somebody. I don't know.
If the health crisis gets worse, I think they will have no other choice but to offer evacuation. I think it might reach a critical point before that happens, when the people themselves, as you very well say, they will have to see the need. The government will obviously have to offer a solution in terms of temporary shelters, or at least sending them to areas where they can live, right, for a few months, because the sewer situation would not take a few days. That is that's a system that has evolved over many months, and it needs to be sorted out, and it'll take a little while. So yes, I agree with you. They need to look at it. Yeah.
Dr. Ramroop, I purchased a home in Connecticut, right? Yeah. But other people are living on the same lot of land. It's a condominium, right?
Yeah.
And part of the home inspection was a radon air test.
Yes.
So I was like, what is this? What is radon? What's going on? So they said it's mandatory by the state of Connecticut.
Yes, the stones evolve that gas, and it's pretty dangerous. And I think that is a problem. It is a problem in that area. Not only that, the air quality is also poor. So we did some tests there when we were going to move the dump, and it was poor.
So we need somebody to kind of kick off this issue here, and to lead the charge in making it a very hot issue, in the country there, to state a case with the government, as maybe Professor, maybe you can gather a team of your guys and make a case, in what you think it needs to be done, because it's such a critical issue there now that has to be dealt with, and then the people can be, in Trinidad, Tobago, you got here in America, sometimes you got to light the fire under somebody to get things moving,
to get things done.
And I did that here quite a bit, and in one tongue. And when I walked into the ministry, the Department of Works, they thought the mayor was coming because I put so much fireworks on them that, So I believe in lighting the fire, basically.
Yeah.
Lighting the fire and then running. Go ahead.
Lana says, if the beatum starts to sink, will they be removed or will the residents move?
I think there will have to be. There'll be I think the disaster act will have to be put in place. The president will have to declare disaster zone. Once that occurs in Trinidad, our act is so old that it almost becomes like martial law, and that they can be removed once the act is enforced, and it's declared by the president of the country on advice of the prime minister via the National Security Council, that is a disaster. So I think that is a way that you can actually get the military and the police to move people, but it has to be, as you say, somebody has to lobby. They have to lobby with facts, and I think that is the problem. Getting facts is a problem.
Somebody like your capacity, who knows what they're talking about, can make a strong case.
Part of the problem is that, yes, we tend to
does the medical fraternity have that?
The public health system, that is the county medical officer of health, has that authority in the sense that he can declare that is a disaster zone, and he can advise the chief medical officer, and then the chief medical officer informs the Minister of Health, who takes it to the National Security Council, and then the Prime Minister informs the president that it's a disaster zone, and then the Disaster Measures Act is kicking. So through the legislative manner, the legislative way, the legislation, that is something that could be done. But again, there is a lack of effort, because it's a very complex set of people that we're dealing with. Because one problem, and they're going to be protesting, but I do feel that there's a solution, and I think right now the government is working on it. I know for a fact they are. It's not being put aside. But I agree I agree where you say that it's not enough. And
we need an immediate extraction in order to give the government give the government the room to handle that place effectively, and you can't have people in the way.
There's no other choice, and there is no. The problem right now is you can't go with the legislation now that we have unless it is declared a disaster zone.
Well,
And I
yeah,
think
this is
that
what,
is
so
what,
I need
yeah,
some help from you guys. Maybe I will correspond with you and we could figure out how to.
yeah,
I will go straight to the Prime Minister's office. In fact, I'm in direct communication with them.
yes,
And if all I need is the facts to present to them with somebody that's
yes. And I think,
knowledgeable what they're saying.
yeah. So the most important thing is that the person who, or the persons who hold that actual public health, let's say the level of the problem will be the county medical officer of health, and he has to furnish us with that data and that information, and that is where the problem comes in, because we don't have an independent or the ability to put an independent group there to go in there and assess the air quality, do the testing, and then come back and say, public health guys, hey, we are doing it and we are finding this. Then the opposition, there's an opposition party. They need to do more, obviously, because it's a public health crisis. And clearly, the only way that you can actually go now and do that is if you have some degree of authority to go into that community. And it's a community that you just can't go into unless you have security and you have people going in with you, right? Because they will also have a problem with you, and they will think that you have you're coming in for other reasons. So again, I know that I spoke to someone in the ministry, and they are dealing with the issue. We're hoping that in the next day or two, something will come. I know that the honorable minister in that area, Mr. Hines, who is the Minister of National Security, he is working on the problem with the government, and let's see what happens.
Dr. Stephen, someone says, what is the source of the sewage and where is it coming from?
I am not too familiar with the actual drainage of the area, but as I think right now in the conversation, you all know that area is below sea level. We all know that the number of people in that area has way past the numbers that they should be. We talked earlier about town and country and the ability to zone and the ability to develop, right? To develop a city, you have to have a plan. And that plan, as you go on, you need to make sure that it keeps to the plan. That area is overpopulated for what it should be. The input into the sewer system obviously is too much. The drainage of the sewer system is too much. That's a simple layman's term, because I'm not a sewage expert. But in terms of disaster risk reduction, in terms of knowing the hazard, I think that the city has evolved, but the actual drainage system in the city and the sewage system has not evolved. The WASA has been dealing with it very, very, satisfactorily, but I think it's overwhelmed now because it has reached a stage where I think there's an issue of manpower, there's an issue of security to go and do the work in the area, there's an issue of resources, and there's an issue of the actual population that they're dealing with, is that they have lost trust, not just with WASA, but they have lost trust. And I think lastly, what I want to put in is that community has a very close link with each other, and there's a lot of peer pressure. So even some people might want to move because their children is affected, but if they do that, they are scared because other people in the area have a sort of control over that whole area. So I think that is something that we have to look at in terms of dealing with it. Yeah.
So we want to make sure that's why we need the help to inform them properly, let them know nobody's trying to ambush them or rip them off or mislead them, but that this is a response because of our concern about their health situation and how serious it is to them. And that is why we are doing what we are doing. So there has to be clarification with them. Trained
facilitators. Because
so
the problem we have is that that's a very, very delicate situation. So that one of the problems we have in terms of management is that we have to identify the key champions, the key persons who are going to drive this what you're talking about, right? And of course we have to make them buy into what you're trying to do. That needs skilled facilitation, and I think that is very important. So what you're saying there is true. It needs to be done.
Well, I'm going to put up the fight. I just need the experts to back me up, because I already make a case already, and I decided I did advise the Prime Minister's office that I was coming with what information I have, and I was coming straight to them. I am not going to any minister. I'm going straight to the PM office and try to get the support and bring it to his attention,
Right.
So
the authority there would be the City of Port of Spain, right? I'm not sure if it falls in the other corporation, but it will be a joint city and a regional corporation. They will be the law, if you know what I mean, under our Local Government Act. So your first port of call would be the CEO of that, of either the city or the corporation. Because I think in that area it might come under the Laventil Corporation, if I remember correctly, right?
Right.
So that will be your first legal approach in terms of doing it right. You would have to make sure that you have the necessary correspondence and liaison with them, because they are the authority for that system. The second, of course, will be, since it's a public health emergency, the CMOH of the area, the Ministry of Health, County Medical Officer of Health, because that's
Dr.
the
Parasram?
avenue. No, he is the CMOH, but there is a County Medical Officer of Health for that county.
Okay.
So that is the person whom you will have to get the right information and or no information. So in other words, then it will be good for you to say, well, look, I spoke to the CMOH, or I wrote to the CMOH, or I sent a representative to meet with the CMOH. I've been doing this for the past few days to find out what is the exact extent of the problem. Because what we need to do is to have an independent quality assessment, in the sense that you're saying, look, okay, you are telling me that it's a public health emergency, but you're not evacuating the people. Has it reached a disaster? What is your criteria to make sure it's a disaster? Do you have a criteria? Do you have any standard operating procedures that tell me that you evacuate when you reach a certain level? Does your air quality have to be so much to declare this? This is the best practice in the US or Canada. What is your best practice? Now, this is what you could go to the PM with, because he's not a stupid person and he will understand exactly what you're saying. But you would have to show that you went through the correct way to get that information. And if you are going to say that it's a public health emergency, somebody from there will say, no, it's not. And then they will say, do you know it's a public health emergency? You will say yes, because I'm seeing things. And they will ask you where you're seeing it from. Then you say, oh, I'm seeing it in social media. My friends are calling me. Dr. Ramroop said so. You know what I mean? And again, if the CMOH has not written to you or has not communicated with you, if the CEO of the corporation and the public health or the environmental health arm of the corporation has not liaised with you or give you information, yes, this is how it needs to be approached very quickly.
All right, Gary, you heard it.
Wait, Dr. Stephen, what about...
I intend to put up a strong enough fight. Go ahead, answer.
But what about the politics that's going on into all of this, in that some people don't want to make the government look bad, so they have to give information that's pro the government, as opposed to information that's going to help the people and to beat them? What about that? I mean, to me, it sounds like if that's part of the whole solution too.
Well, I know I was hoping that Roodal Moonilal would have come on, but he's more of a politician than I. And I know that
he's coming right after you.
I don't want to ask you, but I know that you were on vast and barren slate.
I was, and I was.
Just a little more.
I was given a very shake up, and I realized that it's not for me. Politics is not for me. Okay. So I think that I've actually gone back into a more resource person, and if any government wishes to call upon me to serve in any manner, I would be happy to serve once I can serve my people before I pass. So that's how I look at it now, and hopefully I can make a change for any government that chooses to say, Dr. Ramroop, come and help us in this way, whether it's forensic medicine, disaster management, healthcare. I am happy to help because I'm retired. I'm enjoying myself, but I'm very worried. I have 2 daughters in Canada, thank God, because they're not in the system. My son is a doctor, thank God, so hopefully he could see about himself later on. And I don't know. And right now, I'm very, very thinking about getting out of here. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I haven't made up my mind as yet, because that is what it has done to me. I'm frustrated. I've been out of a job since 2017. I've been since Gary. I've been putting a lot of information out, but nobody has actually, taken up what I'm saying. I appeared for an interview for Director of Health. They chose somebody else, another doctor, a colleague of mine who went to school with me. And then I understand he's on leave now, and they have another person there now. So I don't know what really went on there. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because I think that's part of the problem in Trinidad and Tobago, that I guess once you align yourself with a party, and if that party is not in power, you put you can't even sit on the bench.
Yes.
You
go to the
political
cemetery. You go to the political cemetery.
I am like a woodpecker. I will pick until I succeed.
That's stupid and backward. The man is a Trinbagonian citizen. He wants to serve his country.
Look at the level of experience and
expertise. Diana, all four of us here agree that's the way it's supposed to be, and until we all speak up.
It's frustrating.
Right, until we all speak up and tell them we cannot continue to do the same thing and get different results. We
stupid, dotish and stupid.
We just cannot continue this.
If you ask me,
I get up every morning and I go to my study. I have nothing to do. Right? Now and then I have a patient that I see, which helps pay the bills, but I am bored. I have all this knowledge in my head. I have healthcare management, disaster risk, and I had good results when I was there. I have a good track record because you could see it for yourself. Things were happening. And I sit down and I look at television in the morning. I look at news. I write a few Facebook comments. I am frustrated. I am bored. I'm 60 years. And for the last, 5 years, I've been doing absolutely nothing for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I try through Rotary. We do charitable work. I do teaching at UTT. I help people as much as I can help. We give donations. And my charitable work is there in Rotary. I've been a Rotarian for over 30 years. So, I'm doing these things, but you know what I mean? Not doing what I would love to do for the people. And it's not just me alone.
It's a shame.
Other people. It's not just me alone. It's other people. It's not just me alone.
Dr. Rowley, shame on you and Dr. Dial Singh. Shame on all the winner. Got this man wasting here. Shame.
So Dr. Ramroop, what I want to do is, together with you, I'd like to pull a team together.
Yeah.
To work with you, and I want to take this on. In fact, we already took it on. I just didn't have the expertise to say, well, this is actually what is and what isn't,
Yeah, I can definitely assist in guiding you as to the pathways.
Right.
So that, in other words, and remember, one of the biggest embarrassment is when you go up either in a court or you go up before a prime minister, or you go anybody, and your information is not sound. You know that as well as I. So
yes.
I think one of the things is that once you go through the right step, lack of information from the right people is even stronger. Because if you ask somebody for something and they are not able to give you in what you want in terms of international, regional, and best practices, when it comes to public health guidance or guides with respect to sewage and how it affects people, and that's very easy. That's the easiest thing to do. Find out all the criteria. What are the benchmarks? What are the levels of atmospheric pollution that you have to get the people out? What are these are the early warning systems as well as the systems of health and whatever. There are a number of parameters and indicators. And once you go there with a proper document and say, give me those information, because if you don't, those people are in real trouble. Because if you can't give me them, then crap will smoke all of our pipe.
Well, I think you have some idea how I operate. I don't stop, and I is either they collaborate or they run.
Yeah.
But I'm coming. So speak to your friends and let's see what we can do. But I intend to take this on full force, full throttle ahead.
I think it's a good thing because the people are suffering one way or the other.
So, Dr. Ramroop, I want to say it's a pleasure with you sharing your time here in the village with the DAG Triplets.
Finally.
We really appreciate that you're coming here and, you're coming with a bang with Hawaii and
Niluhi.
But before you go, I want to say to you, keep the faith, and good things are coming because you're a person who have a lot of expertise that's sorely needed in Trinidad and Tobago. And
I hope your mouth thick, man.
Well,
it will. Don't worry.
I really hope so. Listen, it's not the money, it's just a God that I guess to do something. Oh my God, it's just to do something. Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Well, you see, Dr. Ramroop, I always believe in putting things out into the universe that you would like to see happen, and then the universe have a way of taking these things and bringing them back in a positive way. So that's exactly what I'm doing here.
So but before you go now, also not just the beat them. I've spoken to Minister of Works, and also about some ideas about the rerouting the water and using it turn it into a water storage treatment facility and the retention ponds and all these different kind of things. So we need to get that stuff done. So I'm going to drag you in on that fight. So we got a lot of work to do, and I'm moving full throttle ahead. So we're going to talk more about that.
Beautiful. I'm glad I'm getting something to do. Thank you so much.
So Dr. Ram, any closing words before you go? Any closing words?
I think one of the things is that we are a beautiful people. I've traveled all over the world. I've worked with a lot of other Caribbean islands. I've been we are Trinidadians and Tobagonians are beautiful people. And we're not stupid. Our level of literacy is probably much higher than a lot of other people that we have around. But you know what? We have a lot of God is a Trini kind of thing. We have a lot of partisan politics that is coming into very essential areas of community care, community work, and protection of our people. And I think we need to kind of get away from that. So I think our culture has to evolve in terms of putting the right people to do the job, no matter what party. Those are things that I think that we should look at if we intend to have a beautiful country in the next 10 to 15 years. And I'm even saying 10 to 15 years because we already started in a sort of decline in terms of resiliency. We're not as resilient as we used to be, right? And I think that word resiliency, and if you even want to measure it, you probably call it fragility. We need to look at that, and part of it is to work in the long term and the short term in terms of making people trust us. There's a lot of problem with trust in that area, and I think that is where the problem lies.
And check and see if Dr. Moonilal is in the background there. We could probably bring him for 5 minutes to say hello to Dr. Ramroop before he goes.
No, he's not there yet. He's
not there?
Yet.
Okay, yeah. All right.
So, Dr. Ramroop, just a few comments from the chat. Somebody says, appreciate this interview. Another person says, Dr. Ramroop, thanks for coming into the village. Very informative program tonight. You have educated us all. So those are just type of the comments that we get from people in the chat to let you know that the information that you are putting out there, people are appreciating the information that you are putting out there.
Yes. Dr. Moonilal said he's on standby there, so let's look out for him. He's coming in now. Okay, go ahead.
So if Dr. Ramroop wants to hold on, he can hold on.
Sure. That's Rudy is my neighbor, good friend.
Yeah, so he could hold on right there.
So you could talk about whatever you want in the meantime.
Well, one of the things I have always had a problem with from very small is when I used to go to Maracas, right? We used to go on the lookout, and after the journey, I used to want to pee.
Dr. Ramroop, the lookout?
Yeah. And that lookout in Maracas, I used to want to take a pee. And I used to have to go down in the bush lower down to do it. And this is 2022, and I still have to do the same thing. And we have such a beautiful country, and we can't really build up a nice little area there where somebody can go get a nice little rest stop. Like when we're traveling across the Rockies, from Calgary, and every so often it have a little place to stop and a little place to water. And if they're so remote, you have a hole you could even use, and you know how pit stops work when you're traveling across the US. Those are the simple things, the very simple things. Like when you go on the Maracas or Mayaro or Manzanilla on a long weekend and there's no garbage bins, or there are garbage bins and the people throw the litter away from the garbage bins, or even the garbage bins are overfilled and they don't empty it because they don't hire the people on the weekends to remove it. And these are the simple things.
A lack of consistency, I see. No follow up, no follow through. There's no urgency.
No, there's no planning strategically and consequence management, as the military would say. In other words, just as computer deals and AI deals with algorithms, you know where you're going. Yes, what you do. No, what you do. We do that in medicine. As a surgeon, that's how I think. That's how I was trained to think as an orthopedic surgeon. Right? You meet a problem, you either go here or there. If you go here, what do you do? And that's how computers think. It's a way of algorithms. So therefore, if you put in a particular building in a particular spot, or if you go into Maracas, do you think that people will need a urinal? Maybe it's a good thing to put one. Or I know they tried, but there's a lot of politics involved in that as well. You go to Mayaro on a long weekend, do you think that we need to hire the garbage collectors to work on from the Saturday or the Friday because the garbage is good? Because you want people to put stuff in the garbage, but then the garbage is filled and it's overflowing. So how do they do that? Well, in a lot of developed countries like Canada, people take home the garbage in the trunk. Now, we don't have that kind of culture at all. These are things that have to start from the elementary schools. And I think
somebody's suggesting that you can work in another Caribbean country.
Well, I would love to, but I love Trinidad. I love Tobago. I was interviewed for CEO in Tobago. I know that they haven't hired anybody. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed. I doubt very much I might get it, but you live in
No, Dr.
Well, we don't say that. We're going to be talking to Watson and Farley.
Don't say that.
You can't say that.
They haven't hired. I've been waiting. My interview was somewhere in the middle of last year, and then they called about 3 months ago, and they said, well, you have to hold a little bit. And then, I know that I did well in the interview, but as I say, I think my name is somewhere around there, but You know, oh my God, I would love to retire in Tobago and help Tobago, at least Tobago.
Well, I'm happy you mentioned that because now
the
I
power
got
of positive thinking.
Yeah.
Dr.
The
Ramroop,
power
what I
of
want you to
positive
say to
thinking,
It is
Dr.
yourself, I
done.
want
Ramroop.
you to say to yourself, you see that position? I
Yeah.
get in that position.
Oh my God. Tobago is so beautiful. I mean, you know, it's like paradise, really. And I must say that I live in Trinidad and Tobago, but Tobagonians are really, really nice people. They're down in their heart. They don't have to act it out. I know sometimes they might have a little problem with us when we go as Trinidadians, but you know what? It's so nice. When you go there, it's so beautiful and restful. And so much could be done. I mean, I wish I could get my little piece to do it. I saw a nice piece of land in Hope Estate there. I'm hoping that if I do get a job there, I will definitely look at putting up a little house there by the beach and retiring peacefully. You know what I mean?
Well, like I say, I know this fella called Watson Duke, and we're going to be talking. We consider each other as brothers. We stood with him.
Yeah. And you consider your brother with Hines. Which one is your brother?
Hey, Hines is my brother too. Don't mess with Hines. I'm going to help Hines.
Gary.
I'm going to help Hines fix the beat them. All this stuff beating up on him. I am going to help. It's no political barriers here. You know, we all Trinidadians.
If he's your brother, he need to be in the Beetham.
Well, I am going to give my brother all the assistance he needs to make this a reality.
Ansem give him a challenge. He ain't get there yet.
No, well, listen to me. Ansem is not his brother. I am his brother. So that he's going to talk to me. You know he's going to talk to me.
Wait. Yeah, so you're calling children on your outside children on your father then, huh?
No. I'm telling you. Okay. Me and Mr. Brother Heinz tight. So, you know, we're going to be
that's
talking.
how we get in the village, Dr. Ram. We have to lighten it sometimes because stress.
Minister Hines and I are very good with each other because I remember when I was at ODPM, I was very balanced in how I dealt with it. I had a government job. It wasn't a political job. It was a post in the Ministry of National Security. I reported to the permanent secretary. It wasn't a political appointed position. I had to be interviewed for the job, and I got a contract with the Ministry of National Security. And of course, when I did my work, I gave everybody equal opportunities. I gave them. I shared what I had with everyone. I helped all the corporations, and of course, the Honorable Minister Hines. And when you speak with him, tell him and ask him if what I say is incorrect, because he is a person that I do speak.
I am sending your number to him.
Gary,
and we go
and Dr. Ramroop, hold a minute, because we got Dr. Roodal Moonilal sitting in the background.
Bring him in.
Bring him
in. Rudy.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Great to be on. Hi, Dr. Ramroop, Stephen. Good to see you.
Happy you could join the panchayat.
Hey, what's that? I don't understand that word. What
it's a pleasure yet again to join you for a few minutes.
Yeah. Dr. Moonilal, again, welcome to In the Village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. It's always interesting that you joined us. Dr. Moonilal, what is that Dolphin X or Dolphin K? What's that jacket you have on there? Yeah.
What team you supporting there?
What team is that?
You in the US will always think of Dolphins.
Atlanta Dolphins?
Yeah, we talk about Miami Dolphins.
I think it's just the Bahamas Atlantis
Dolphin. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's not
the Atlantis.
It's
nice
not a
place.
Team. It's not a team as you
it's a hotel
out there.
Okay, when we hear Dolphin, we talk about Miami Dolphin. I thought you're not
yes,
Trinidad
of course.
support.
When you hear Dolphin, you think of all
Flipper.
those footballs, American football, and that type of thing. You know?
Yeah, I thought when I hear Miami Dolphins in Trinidad.
When I hear Dolphin, I think about Flipper.
Okay.
So Dr. Moonilal, I know
thank God nobody thinking about meat.
Dr. Moonilal, I know you have a very short time with us. So talk to us about some of the things. We see that there was a march today, around the savannah. We see a week ago, the people around the savannah was tear gas, which I thought was a bad thing. It's one of the worst things that we could do as a people in Trinidad and Tobago, to tear gas anyone, especially when kids, right, and their parents are teaching them how to stand up. I think that's what's most important. When you hear the Prime Minister say you should keep your kids home, if you have kids, you want them to go out there and stand up to things that they think need to change. What do you say?
Sure. Well, I mean, on that, I remember many years ago, and some of you may have the memory, when we had those vibrant marches every year from Avocat Junction to Faizabad on Labor Day. It was actually part of the event was for parents in the labor movement to bring their kids, bring their children out, and in a way, inculcate the sense of solidarity and justice and equality. And I think it's important as a principle for children to have an appreciation of those higher values that govern us. And it is not a bad thing to have children involved in activities of resistance. For example, we use the term protest, but it is also resistance. And I think it's wise actually to inculcate children at a young age into the values of equality, freedom, solidarity, but also to practice, to be in the practice to uplift certain values. I don't think I was looking at some pictures recently, and in the section 34 march in Chagaramas to Port of Spain several years ago, where Dr. Rowley was indeed a leader of that, you couldn't help but notice there were some children there as well. So it was good enough there, but it's not good enough now. But coming back to the substantive point that you make is that I really think that the police made an error on the day, and surely there are other measures to take in the event that you need to disperse a crowd, in the event that, let's assume, although I don't know, I don't have the evidence that, one section or a couple of people were misconducting themselves or so. Surely there are ways and means of dealing with that from a policing standpoint, rather than tear gassing children. And so close to the roads. I mean, what people did not understand is that the tear gas was discharged, about 4 feet away from the roadside, which could have easily affected motorists and cars and so on, and caused a greater problem. So I think that was really, regrettable. But the society lacks leadership now, whether it's at the national government level, whether it's at the police level. So that happens. But I think the pressure also built on them. I think today they had a protest activity which had the green light, so to speak, from the police, and we haven't heard any major incidents by nightfall. So we assume all went well. But it was abominable that the police would use tear gas in the circumstances where children were involved in some type of resistant activity.
Dr. Moonilal, just stay with us for 5 seconds. We just got to do a quick station identification. Just stay with us for 5 seconds. We'll be right back. Of course, folks, it's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Let's go for a quick station.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE LP 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
So we are back with you. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Here we go. Yeah, we thought we saw you in the dark there for me. So, Dr. Moonilal, another important issue that we feel coming out of Trinidad is with respect to the BTM, right? We like, and I have a question for you as a member of the opposition party. I felt that the opposition leader should have paid a visit to the people of the BTM. And here's why I felt that, right? Because that constituency is considered to be a PNM stronghold.
Sure.
And I believe if the UNC wants to make headways in those type of constituencies, this was a great opportunity for the opposition leader, right, to go in there and show her leadership to the people and say, we are not coming in here just because it's an election, but we're coming in here because we care of you. What do you say?
Well, I mean, there are always, two, sometimes three sides to a coin. While I understand your point, certainly. I myself, have friends and supporters in the BTM. Over the years, very few people would know, but it's not a complete secret that I've also given some support to children in the BTM for their schooling, for their education, and so on. And over the years, I've inculcated a certain amount of support there. So, I hear you that the opposition leader, myself, or any other person, we can go. But on the other side, there are some people who may believe that when these matters arise, you seek to politicize it. And by our very presence, we are politicians. So you seek to bring, the entire situation into the political domain. So I hear you, yes, but I think there's another side that you don't want to be accused of cheap politicizing, just cheap politics by going to a flashpoint because people are protesting against the government, so you go. But having said that, I can assure you that some of the folks there we have been in touch with, we have solidarity with them. The Beatam, as you would know, is a place where they have historically suffered enormous neglect. In fact, when I was the Minister of Housing, I toured the Beatam on 2 or 3 occasions, and I myself was amazed by the level of neglect, the squalor, the state of life of people there who have really supported the ruling party now for 60 years. They have given unwavering support to that political party that has spent about 70% of our independence period in office. And today it is among the most depressed and poverty-stricken area on the island. I wanted to remind you as well, when I was there, we introduced, no, we didn't introduce actually, we continued a program called Color Me Orange, where we gave employment to hundreds of persons on the Beatam to participate in cleaning up the environment. We had a program called Hoop for Life, in which we took a great American basketballer, I believe Shaquille O'Neal, to the Beatam to inspire kids to start a basketball program. We built, incidentally, the HDC when I was there. We actually built apartments on the Beatam and had no need for security. We had no need for security. We asked the people to take ownership, take control of the project. The project is yours. If you steal the materials, you steal from yourself. And that was a great success that we were able to build apartments in the Beatam for families and so on. There's a lot of work to do there, including, as you know, drainage. And for one reason or another, over the years, while they have given unwavering, dedicated support to the current administration, we have not seen the type of support to that community.
Dr. Moonilal,
sure.
Can the government exercise eminent domain and thus force them to move for the sake of health reasons?
I think it's very difficult. Governments now need to be very careful about using mandatory action. I mean, we don't want to get too quickly into the issue of mandatory vaccine and so on. But always with development, you have to build dialogue, you have to build participation, consultation with communities if you want development. You just can't impose onto communities mandatory conduct, to say we are the government and you have to leave. We are the government, you have to take vaccines. We are the government, you have to give up your house and land.
But they did eminent domain in Tobago to get the airport expanded.
Well, the airport project, you may not know, but it's now on a kind of thin ice, so to speak. There are several problems that have arisen with the airport project in Tobago, including, incidentally, relocation and compensation. So that is not a done deal. We have a flashpoint emerging now in Macoya, where they are also looking to remove people in Macoya, Tanapuna, there to construct the interchange. And that is already creating problems. Our sister Khadija Amin has had cause to write and to express her concern that they are indicating to residents that they must move, but there have been no consultations, no dialogue, no participation. So my approach to these things is that really you need a level of dialogue.
Dr. Moonilal, based on what has happened thus far in the Beatam, we tend to think that it's a healthcare emergency, more or less a crisis at this time, and that there's need for urgent action. Do you still believe that they have to drag their feet and possibly...
Well, the healthcare emergency you're talking about, is it the sewer system problem?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, that, to my knowledge, I mean, the information we have in the press is that the authorities are working on that. They were delayed somewhat, but they are working to solve that problem now. assuming that residents must move, there's a process you can implement almost overnight. You can give people emergency shelter in the context where there's a serious health risk. So once you have an emergency like health, I don't know if you could remember, because these things come back to me in True Macaque, I believe, in Lavantil. One night there was a fire and an entire apartment building was burnt down. By the next evening, we had every single resident in a new temporary emergency housing condition, so that they can identify the 50 or 100 families that are suffering the most and provide emergency shelter.
That's the same building I'm talking about.
And Dr. Moonilal, that
Sure.
I am from that area. I grew up in Chumacac, Lavantil.
Sure.
And the building right across is the building one that burned down on December the 21st, 2011.
Yes.
And I say, and I've been saying this now for years, for over 2 years now, that the PNM have forsaken the people of Chumacac, Lavantil, because 6 years under the PNM, that building have sat there abandoned. And these people have voted for the PNM every single year that the PNM has been in office. And I'm not saying this because you are here, but I'm saying this publicly. And it is sad that the PNM continues to mistreat its most valuable citizens. But I want to ask you a question though. Why is it that the BTM, the WZYE is not working 24/7 in order to fix this problem?
Well, I have absolutely no idea. I would think that this is an emergency that requires a 24/7 operation. I mean, as you know, construction and those kind of things you can fix those things in the middle of the night, because we have now the technology, we have all the facilities now to work around the clock. I really don't have a clue as to why WZYE is not working 24/7 to bring that to a conclusion. But to come back, you see, the problem here is the government takes for granted the BTM and Lavantil and so on. They take them for granted because you believe that when the election come there, you're automatic, safe voters. They will do nothing except vote for you. So you can treat them with the level of disrespect. I mean, look at the treatment of Mr. Hines. When the residents raise the issue and they protest, Mr. Hines' position was you all have to have patience. Now, I am sure wherever he is living, he doesn't have that order to cope with day and night. He doesn't have the health concerns. His family don't, have, chemicals, that type of chemicals in the atmosphere that can damage their system, their lungs, their breathing, their organs, and so on. I'm sure he don't suffer from that. So I think it was so unwise and so regrettable that you would indicate to people in those circumstances, well, have patience. You need to have patience. And when they showed us the timeline, those people have been waiting months and months and months for that, for rehabilitation of that problem.
So I think the issue I was saying earlier to Dr. Ramroop, that issue warrants immediate action because it is considered to me a health hazard.
Of course.
And the infrastructure there might need more a lengthy period for restructuring. So I don't think it's a short fix. So I think those people should be relocated. And also Dr. Ramos suggested, just like yourself, that they should be educated on what's taking place and why they're being moved, and not that somebody's trying to scam them or mislead them.
You have to be very clear, because if you do not treat people with that level of respect and that level of consideration, they will have ideas that you're up to something sneaky, something suspicious, because I mean, the BTM is prime industrial estate as well. The BTM is prime commercial estate. So you have to be very cautious in the way you treat people when it comes to these matters. But that is a health and safety matter. And I don't believe health and safety matters, should be negotiated and take time and time and time in circumstances where people can fall ill. But the government has a certain amount of, disdain for the BTM, I dare say, for Lavantil, for areas where people have been known to support them for all these years. They don't have the economic opportunities. They don't have the the commercial opportunities. They don't have this sort of concentration on education and training, on jobs that you require for communities like that. I mean, I have had the opportunity for 5 years to work in the Port of Spain, Laventille, Beetham areas and so on because of the housing ministry. And I understand clearly the need for opportunities, for jobs, for income. I mean, and a lot of the people there, notwithstanding, how they may be stereotyped and so on, a lot of the people there, when you speak to them and so on, they would just want a job. They just want to have opportunity for training. They want their children to go to school and learn and do better than them. There are people who yearn for opportunity and yearn really for a better life for their children. And
they seem very industrious too. They seem very industrious.
And very industrious. These are people who, if you give them basic opportunities in terms of business and investment, small scale, small, medium-sized enterprise development and so on, you would be shocked the amount of good work that can come out of communities like this, both in terms of all types of products, not just manufacturing and so on. But the other issue over the years, I can tell you, I have had and we have had on the front burner was really the relocation of the port from Port of Spain to Silots, Beetham. And that, as a large-scale mega project, would have also created enormous opportunities for business, for trade, for industry, for the people of Beetham and surrounding areas.
I'm happy you brought that forward.
Dr. Moonilal, I am, as a resident of Chumaka, Laventille, for my first 18 years. And Minister Hines, who is the representative for Laventille West, I actually challenged him and told him that if he could spend since he wants the people to have a lot of patience, I would like him to spend 5 nights with those people and patience. And I will come to Trinidad. I will fully expense pay trip. I'll pay for everything. If I need to get security, I'll pay for security. And I will spend 5 nights in the Beetham as well. So I haven't heard back from him as yet. Some people say, well, let him just spend 1 night. If he wants to spend 1 night, I will come and I will spend 5 to his one. Could you talk to him about that? Could you talk to him about
well,
that?
I can give him the message for you. I can give him the message, but I think there's water on duck back because and he's scared of water. I don't think it will resonate with him, but you're right. I mean, if a member of parliament could spend 1 night, even not 5, or 1 night in their constituency to breathe the same air, to drink the same water, to endure what your constituents endure, I think you will develop a much more compassionate and sympathetic heart. And sometimes I believe that people in these public office and so on, they simply don't have the heart. When you tell people to be patient in those circumstances, you just don't have a heart. And I wanted to make a point tonight with you guys as well. It's a point I made in Parliament some time ago. When we were in office, we had conceptualized and implemented a contract for what is called the Beetham Wastewater Project. This current government criminalized that. They called everybody involved in that. They criminalized it. They made it. They said that was a great big corruption thing, they say. And everything. Now, you have had 7 years, I think now, 6, 7 years to deal with that project if anything was wrong, if there was corruption, if there was wrongdoing. You have had 7 years to deal with that. You didn't deal with that. Do you know that project was geared towards bringing about 20 million gallons of water per day to residents in Trinidad and Tobago, an extra 20 million gallons by having the conversion of water through this Beetham water plant. But that would have also created jobs in that area, where instead of sitting down in the back of a truck digging up for garbage, you could have had a job where you go to the plant and you have basic training and, maintenance, basic training and what is happening there and work. We would have created jobs in that area, economic activity. But the government came, they criminalized it, they said everything around that was wrong. 7 years later, they could not correct what was wrong. They could not finish the plant. The NGC that was responsible actually put out a tender, and several companies were interested in completing the plant. The government said no. And that is a serious industrial project in Beetham, because places like Beetham, Laventille and things, they need industrial policy to help them. They need projects. They need large-scale industrial projects that helps to take communities out of poverty. I can give you the example. If you look at what happens in the 70s and so on with Point Fortin Labre, what happened in Cuba with the industrial estate, it is when you bring heavy industry to underdeveloped, poverty-stricken neighborhoods that you create economic opportunity, income redistribution, and that's the vision that I have for places like that.
Tommy?
Someone asked a question, Dr. Moonilal.
Sure.
Is it possible for a constituency to call a quick election rather than waiting, for example, to beat them?
No, I don't think in our political system it doesn't work like that. There's a cycle that you go through, and every 5 years you have your election. It could be before if you pressure the government enough and the government collapse. But you see, the problem here is that these fellas in office and so on, they wear jacket and tie every day. They collect a big salary every month. So I mean, they really don't take on these problems of people that way. Throughout the country, I mean, the road situation, I think we have the worst roads that we have ever had since 1962. I mean, it is just a shame that a country like Trinidad and Tobago would have this crisis on the roads. If you want to move from San Fernando to Mayaro, you take about 2.5, 3 hours given the roads. I mean, I went last week or 2 weeks ago to Mayaro, and it is amazing. On one road, right? You are driving on the left, and the vehicle on the right is about 6 feet ahead, on top of you, almost on your head, and that's because of a landslide. So I mean, and Mayaro, as all of you would know, Mayaro has a great industrial potential. I took a friend once from Jamaica many years ago to Mayaro, and he told me, he said, this is a future Negril. He says, what Mayaro is in Trinidad now, 50 years ago, Negril in Jamaica was like that. And we all know Negril today is a major tourist hub of the Caribbean.
Beautiful. Yep.
Yeah, and Mayaro has that potential, but it requires, vision. It requires, you can't take 3 hours to reach to Mayaro if you want to explore potential up there for manufacturing, for tourism, for recreation, sports, what have you.
Dr. Moonilal, you may have known Mr. Hines for a long time. Is he married?
I don't know Mr. Hines' personal life. I don't know if he has a dog because he bounced down a dog a few months ago. I don't even know if he has a pet.
I ain't letting he getting near my puppy.
He can't get to your puppy at all because and then I think when he bounced down the dog, he then blamed the dog. He said the dog was wrong to be out in the night or something like that.
Oh no!
So there you are,
So is there any way that we could get well, first of all, I'm happy that you brought to our attention that you have a certain amount of relation with the people who beat him, because we had one guy here, Mr. Wilson, and there was high regards for you out there, and he was thinking about reaching out to you. So I told him I would talk to you.
Yes.
So I told him I would speak to you about it.
And they beat him, and time and time again, as I said, over the years, I have been helping behind the scenes with some education and some help for particularly children whose parents are not with them and they require some help and so on. We have been doing that type of thing over the years. Not now, I think about 5 to 8 years now we have been involved in some of the projects. And I am extremely proud. In fact, one of the children I had in mind passes, I say SEA and so on, and is going to a very prestigious school in Port of Spain. And we are very happy that he's really from the Bitam, and he's doing very, very well. We have a great potential there for later in life and so on. And we're just happy if we can help. And they do reach out to us, and we do stay in touch. It's really a pity that the representative himself is not in touch that way. He's not in touch. They always tell you they can't find him, they can't see him. He comes if there's an emergency with his police and security. He has a heavy security now given his portfolio. And you can't approach, you can't talk, and so on. So that's the type of things that they face.
So is it possible to raise a matter of urgency in the parliament, being that the situation is so hazardous to the health of the people there?
Yeah, sure. And what I'm thinking of is, since you raised that, I will just confirm tomorrow with a few residents and beat them. And maybe, unless there's something that prevents us, maybe on Monday I can raise it in the parliament immediately coming out of the discussion tonight.
Please do. Please do.
Sure.
Dr. Moonilal, what you will do is that you will give us here who are fighting for disadvantaged people in Trinidad and Tobago credence, to know that we are really real about what we are trying to do here. You know, and a person like you with your status, you know, if you should go into parliament and have anything to say, just even to say, to raise that, we will really appreciate that. Because,
sure, absolutely.
You know, Dr. Moonilal, we've been trying to get truck-borne water on the Beatum.
Yep.
And we have been, we even said we were going to pay for it.
Sure.
And we have been getting difficulties just to get that.
It's clean water to the people.
Water,
people at WASA giving me the run around. I call the Prime Minister office. One lady say I'm obnoxious. A whole heap of things. I said, listen, I didn't call for that. I'm calling to get fresh water to these people. Their water, their drinking water is sewage compromise. Can somebody get a truck over there? The truck ain't coming from Dominica. You understand me? They need fresh, clean drinking water, Dr. Moonilal, please.
Okay, it's a serious matter enough, and I will try on Monday. There's a meeting of the parliament at 1:30. We'll try to raise those matters. There's something called urgent questions as well, and we can try to raise those questions as well under that agenda.
Thank you.
That will be fine because it's something that is quite urgent, you know. And
thank you.
And I will stay in touch with Mr. Wilson and others in that area to see how best we can advocate.
And if you happen to be in the area, just let us know. We will do a live with you there.
Sure, for sure.
And Dr. Moonilal, I want to say something. I don't want you guys to think, and the political leader to believe that if she's going to visit the Beatum is for politics. We will take up that initiative.
Yep.
Because remember, we are in the United States of America, and we are looking from a global perspective.
Sure.
You see, and we are not looking at it and say that she's going in there because of politics. We are looking at it and say that, look, it's an opposition leader. She have a concern, and she's going to speak to the people.
Sure.
You know, because the Prime Minister hasn't been there yet.
No. I don't think he has visited.
So he hasn't visited. So you see what I'm saying? It's exactly what I'm saying.
And Dr. Moonilal, you know, in my capacity as a global ambassador given to me abroad, you know, I'm concerned about the children and the women. The children, one of the activists, prominent activists of the area, said their children breaking out with sores on their skin. And apparently there's a case of cholera in there. That is not good in a pandemic. People need water to wash their hands regularly.
Yes,
clean
of course,
water.
And it becomes even more of a danger in the context of the pandemic because part of your health protocol is essentially washing your hands regularly. And if you don't have the basic commodity as water, well then I mean that's a life and death matter.
Thank you.
Sure.
So we are calling for an extraction because we think that the people should be removed immediately until things can be sorted out, and maybe they put them in another place. Maybe they don't have to come back there, but you know, this is something that I don't think that they should be able to have to remain there, and it should be dealt with.
And we want to say this here from us here at WZYE 95.9 FM. This is not a political fight.
Sure.
This is a fight for disadvantaged people.
Sure.
And this is what this is about. So anything we can do here from our side, we are willing to do that. And we come from all different parties, political, you know, aspirations here at WZYE 95.9 FM.
Anna Bajan.
Of course.
But this is about country and about disadvantaged people. So Dr. Moonilal, we want to say thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Any closing words before you go?
I just want to say thank you all so much for having me and keep up the very good work. I do follow the discussion and the wide assortment of guests that appear sometimes, and you all are doing a wonderful job. Keep it up. God bless you. This is really a work of God to represent and to advocate on behalf of persons who themselves may not have a voice and cannot speak for themselves. So thank you. God bless you all and have a very, very safe and wonderful weekend.
Thank you, brother. We'll be in touch.
God bless.
Thank you, Doc.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Is Dr. Ramroop still here? Or
No, he said he had to leave.
Okay, then.
Well, all
right, guys. So we're making progress or what?
Yes.
No, wait up, hold up. Two people say, Nutscake says, I disagree with Cam's going in, but what's the but, Nutscakes? And Marcia Braveboy also said she disagreed with Kamala going in through the beatum. And I would like to know from them.
Yeah. Well, she's the opposition leader of the whole country. So Marcia is a very experienced political and commentator, a journalist. So maybe she can come in and give us some.
But Gary, not only that though, Gary, if you want to represent a disadvantaged people, right, you have to show them why they should vote for you.
But no, beside the voting part, before we get to that, right? Okay. What I'm saying to you is, you are the opposition leader of the entire country. You're the prime minister of the entire country. If for some reason the prime minister slacked up on addressing this issue, you should have stepped in. So, and you have the right to step in and don't feel bad about it.
If I was the opposition, I was down there forthwith. People could say what they want.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand how she's deliberating on whether she should or should not go. But the issue here is that we have a serious health hazard that needs your support, and maybe both the government and the opposition can discuss the issue and come together and bring some kind of resolution.
But you see, I want to address something else, right? Vonnie says.
So we're dragging both the government and the opposition into this.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Anderson while we talk.
Okay.
So Vonnie says. Good night, Anderson, could I send you the link for you to come in?
Yeah.
I'll send you the link for you to come in, all right?
Okay.
All right, yeah, cool. Yeah.
Okay, all right, no problem.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, so folks, I will send Anderson a link for him to come in. Want him to come in. Because I'm outside of the studio and I can't get the hookup like we normally get. Yeah.
Plus, we all want to be able to conversate with him, so the link is better.
Yeah.
And
but Gary, I think we kind of went off. I want to know, Nutscake, why you think Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar shouldn't go in, and for Marcia Braveboy, why you think Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar should not go to the beatum. I would like to get you guys' opinion on that because it is my belief. Now,
so send Marcia the link too.
Diana, what do you think?
Send Marcia the link.
Is Trinidad and Tobago the thing happening in Barbados?
So Run the MC says like all they want Kamala to get killed or what? Nobody can go kill Kamala.
What do you mean get killed? What stupidness is that? Who you think somebody just go up and kill them
people? Them people love Kamala so much. You hear Anderson was talking about the other day.
Yeah.
That they will all be there hugging up.
Ain't nobody gonna kill the woman. Trust me. People.
Maybe me and Ansem go, they might kill me, but Kamala.
No. I hear the people in the beatum. They look out for you. They're that kind of camaraderie, kind of together kind of people, and that's what I heard.
No, I wanted to address Vonnie Roberts, right? Vonnie Roberts said, let's face it, all of you. Laventel would always vote PNM. Vonnie Roberts, you really look what happened in Tobago. You could say the people in Tobago was always gonna vote for the PNM. Times changing.
Oh yes.
What season it is now in Trinidad? Whatever season, the season has changed, right? They want to have a mango season.
Breadfruit season.
What is it?
Breadfruit season.
No, I know breadfruit season. No, you know that.
You from Chumaka, all right? Good.
But when is the last time you was in Trinidad to know anything about breadfruit?
Hello. More often than you.
Tommy, are you there? Tommy?
No, he didn't.
Tommy. I think Tommy had two things.
What
Tommy,
season is it in Trinidad now, guys? Tell me what is in the trees now?
Tommy, are you there?
Mango.
No.
Tommy,
Mango and what else?
Sapodilla.
And what else? Breadfruit.
Yeah, breadfruit should be coming in.
All right.
No, breadfruit coming in. It's in now.
Well, it's hello.
You mean breadfruit in Barbados? In Barbados, breadfruit in season.
Breadfruit in season, sapodilla in season, five finger in season. Well, else again? Mango for so.
Flowers in season.
Only flowers.
Yeah. Flowers in season. You like that?
Somebody say you drink milk and knock out Tommy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Bonnie says, answer, and don't forget Tobagonians are very different from Trini.
That's right. Very much so.
Awesome. I'm only gonna ask. Same thing about Tobago. The UNC does not have a presence there, or do they? No, they don't have a presence.
Pomerac in season, pineapple in season. Yeah, tell them.
All right.
Tell them.
Says, my opinion is Kamala should have gone long before, but as Moonilal said, Rowley and all those media houses run with the news. UNC Mama Guy and beat them. You see, that's part of the problem. We are letting other people dictate to them what they should or shouldn't do. They should do what's best for the people, and they should come out and be able to explain it.
But you have a favorite sister there that's been on a radio station. Oh, UNC coming to politicize this and that. But we're going to change the game, Ansem. We're going to change the game.
We're going to change the game.
We're going to change the game.
Well, let's see what went on with Janine Brandt. We broke down Janine Brandt. Frame by frame by frame. Right? We don't just come and make noise and say, oh, yeah, Janine Brandt, she only talking this and she only talking that. You understand? We like to deal with the facts.
Like I said before, I'm a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, and I intend to be part of dictating the terms.
Master Breakboy, waiting for you to answer the question. Why do you think Kamala Prasad Busesa?
Send her the link.
She says, I'm a seasoned journalist. There is no need for the opposition to visit the rebellious PNM stubborn voting gangs of the Beetham and those surrounding areas. They can come campaign there, but not for sure, not for S, not,
No,
this is not about campaigning.
Wait, Gary. Marcia, I got to send it to the waffles on that one. I got to put in the waffles, Marcia. Nah, Marcia, you're better than that. You're way better than that. You're better than that, Marcia. Anyway, let me say hello to Sandy Hill. Sandy Hill says tamarind, grapefruit, and all other citrus.
All right.
Sandy
Tell
Hill,
them.
welcome.
You wouldn't have known that. I would know that.
Wait, stand 1 minute. Not cake.
But the thing about it, I don't care who is PNM, who is UNC, and who is who, PDP, and what alphabet you want to call yourself.
Amen.
There's an objective here about resolving the issues affecting the people. And that is all I care about.
Wait now. Hailey says, Beetham put in what they get back, and Kamala put in what she get back. What she get back. So it's a whatever vibes.
No.
Okay, here's one.
I don't care if anybody like me either. Because it doesn't affect me.
And some, you must take into consideration that Tobago don't vote on race. But one of the really can't vote on race because Tobagonians is made up of like 95%
Afro.
Black. So they can't vote on race, really. But in Trinidad, the election is a race thing. Yes, I agree with that. It will take a new generation to move away from the vote racing, from the vote.
But
from the race voting.
I understand now that there was about 900 persons voted in the Beetham for the UNC there, for Rodney Stone. I didn't know that. I thought they just putting up flag and putting on a show, but they really came forward. They stepped up.
Right. So Nadia said, I don't agree. What? Nadia, What you don't agree with, Nadia? Can you let us know?
Oh no.
So answer. I am not going to the minister of this and minister of that. I'm going straight to the prime minister
But
office.
Gary, we had
with the recommendations and the facts, whatever I get.
Gary, did we have Dr. Moonilal's sister? Was that his sister?
No, she might be in the chat.
No, she was in the chat. She was in the chat.
She was. Oh, okay. I didn't watch. I didn't know this.
Let's say. All right, Marcia say let Watson Duke and PDP going to beat them. Marcia, you should finish goal post, you know. Marcia shift the goal post on Mede Diana.
I see one of my SAG sisters is in here. Wendy Samaru. How are you, my love? How are you?
But Diana, ask you a question.
What?
Marcia Brave Boy shifting the goal post.
Well, he need to go all over Trinidad and Tobago. I done talk. So, hello to my SAG sister, Wendy Samaru. Her father was my history teacher.
Okay.
And her mother was my music teacher.
Let me say welcome to RMC. That's not Run DMC, but Rowley from Toronto, boy. Rowley,
and everybody say hello to Wendy, first time in the village.
Hey, Wendy.
Give my SAG sister a good hello, please.
Say hello to Wendy, Olive. Everybody say hello to Wendy Samaru.
Welcome, Wendy. Welcome, Wendy.
Wendy, welcome. Welcome, Capiza.
All the way from Toronto, all the way from Canada.
I'm seeing a Stephen Dabadine.
He was here before. He was here before.
Oh, we have. Capiza says, Ansem, take the Beatum resident, relocate them to Tobago East, give 1 acre and a house, and then you go see things.
Hello, Akira Lambert, first time listener. Welcome to the village, Akira. What took you so long, girl? You get lost?
Who is that?
Akira Lambert. You get lost, girl?
Isn't Sandy here for the first time?
Know her? Do you know her?
No.
Yeah. It's Patricia Moonilal. That is it.
I know Wendy, but I don't know Akira. But Akira is in the village. We have to welcome her.
Yeah, no, I think Akira was here before.
My dog, Wendy don't know any single Canadian girls. Leave her alone.
Send the link to
Akira.
Or let's sidetrack me, but I'm supposed to send the link.
Oh, nice. That's good to know, Akira.
So, to Anderson,
Akira, we are here about our people. We are here about giving our people a voice. There is no political party that will control or finances or how to say investors that will control the conversation here. We control the conversation here. This is about the people. I just want to encourage everyone to step up and let us know what's going on.
Say good night to Akira too. Bring some of your people. Yeah, my dog. Yeah. Leave Wendy alone. Wendy is not a matchmaking service.
Who's Wendy?
My SAG sister. My dog want to know. When my dog want to know if she don't have any single girls. Girl, she's not no matchmaker for you. Leave her alone.
I don't know what is program for.
Welcome, Wendy. So everyone listening, we want to bring our people together in the diaspora out here and connect with our people on the ground in TNT.
Hey, Anderson, send the link, boy.
We are taking on the issues head on.
Rowley, all of that is not Dr. Rowley. That is a Rowley from Toronto, some part of Canada. I know what part it is. Not Skate. You're still an answer with question yet, boss.
Hey, Vonnie, the girl name is Akira, not Amira. You cross that woman name, so.
Yes, Akira, we're going to take it on head on.
Who's that, Vonnie?
Together with the rest of
call girl Amira.
No, because Vonnie can't see well, you see. Vonnie Bowie wine glasses.
Oh, Lord.
Oh,
oh, no. Answer me starting with your nonsense again. We're Ulrich. Yeah. We have some things. I don't know. Your wife take away your phone and hide the laptop. Yeah. Thank you, Wendy. Glad to be on the intellectually stimulating show. Thank you, Wendy. You ain't see intellectual yet, girl.
She says, I support the conversation about the beatum. They have suffered enough. Akira, you're full one. Akira, boy, you're coming nice.
You send the link for Anderson or no?
Yeah, send it to him. You come in with a bang, Akira. Oh God.
Yeah.
Not skip. Want me to scroll up? Scroll up way.
So apparently Akira knows Anderson a little bit. I guess she knows something of he's been doing out there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Anderson should run in the local election. I understand a local election is due this year.
No, they already picked candidates already.
Oh, they picked somebody?
Yeah, they picked candidates. No, the election is in DB. That is in DB. But
the local that's a by-election, but the local election is due this year.
Oh yeah. Hey,
local government election is due this year.
Not skip. Put your answer again in the chat. I'm at 8:39 p.m.
Ron, Wendy don't want to know you from Arima.
Nah. Yes, Akira. And Anderson Wilson, which is a friend of WZYE 95.
She said Anderson is her husband. Well, looky here. Full 100 support, boy.
Full 100, boy.
She supported your husband.
Oh, wow. Nice.
But Akira, your blowy cover, there might have been some chicks that see him and like him. Now they can't send him the number no more.
Marcia say I take too long to see she post. No,
all love, Akira. All love.
Yeah, Akira, they did several book drives for the children on the Beatum with Miss Jolene John. Anytime all doing anything, just tell Anderson, send me the link and we good to go. We right there. All right, internet.
Akira says she don't worry about other females. I hear you, girl. I hear you. All you see, leave Anderson alone. Okay, good.
Anderson's my partner, boy. Hey, Dana. Did you say it was you want to say Anderson is 4 feet 9?
Not me. I never met the man. Are you putting me in trouble?
Akira, she's operating like my wife. She's not worried at all.
Akira, it wasn't me, okay? I never met your husband, eh? All right.
Oh, God.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
I'm having internet issues.
We're hearing you, Tommy. What's the matter?
Internet issues.
Hey, Rose. Why Tommy having internet issues? You got?
I feel he told Tommy.
Send a card for him now.
I feel he told Tommy kick close with broken.
Oh goodness.
Hey,
I guess it's cold. It's too cold up here.
Noskik says, I said they would say Tanti comes going for politics. And
it's too cold. That's what's going on.
No, you are but good thing, no cheap thing, no good. Why you buying them Chinese phones?
You can't say that. Hold on. The master say, Akira says, they along with the UNC, Jolene John went into the beetle.
Somebody is Jolene John outside, man. I don't talk.
No,
I want you to organize yourself for Tuesday. I want you to come.
That's what you say in the chat here.
Oh, it was he now. All right, so folks, let me say something quick. Marcia Brave Boy had said, just like Duke and Kamala, Duke took a vitamin shot, but he played unvaccinated on Tobago to get their vote, and now he's promoting the vaccine. Nah.
I don't think so. Nope.
Nah, Marcia. Mulligan said, me too. I want her to win. She will win because she spoke truth. She actually is doing real projects to help the poor. She's a very smart young woman. That is talking about Janine Bryan. Davis, Emily, welcome. Good night. I hope you're still there. Steve Dabadine says, other folks talk about the problem, but this girl did something to try to solve the problem. Yes, and that's what it is. People talk, and she actually is doing stuff to solve the problem. That is Janine Bryan.
Yep.
I Mulligan says we got 20% of our population living in deep rural and even urban property. 20% people, 280,000 people living below poverty line. Per CIA World Fact, CIA tracking us. And Diana, you got the statistics with the 9,000 and the 51,000.
Yep.
Adds up to 60,000.
Thank you. Yes, Sandy, the winter is very bad in my neck of the woods. But today was 1 degree.
But who's providing
the other day was 25 degrees below zero.
Who's that?
It's very
Who
cold
provided
where I am.
that information to Google?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe a bot.
I really want Miss Brand to win, just as I do. She's a role model to many young girls who are running for politics in the future. And guess what? I will vote for power. Hey, Lana. Lana says she loves Miss Sweater, boy. Lana, yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Thank you, Lana. Nobody really
Hey,
Lana,
D, you listening? D, you listening?
Now the door closed.
D, you listening?
Takesha says they don't want us to rise up for us to stand together. It doesn't matter which area we are, one people. Lana say yes, answer. Standpipe. No, it's a pool on a standpipe and to drink water and mind your business.
or potholes.
Yeah, they get the people of Lavantil and move a pool and a standpipe, right? To drink water and mind their business.
That's right.
I Mulligan says our own president, a woman, is not a role model to children. I don't know about that. Our president just accepts gifts from foreign government. That is a job, not about the children of this nation. She might be doing some things, I Mulligan. My dog, good night to you. I just reading comments that have been a little bit ago, guys. One of the projects Miss Brandt worked on was in Kunopia. It was very poor village. Miss Brandt sees poverty. She spoke so bravely. I love that chick. Hailey says, Ansem, is the whole island getting neglected, you know? Nick Falcon, welcome to you as well.
That's a bot. No,
he's a real person.
Okay.
I think he is. Eugene Julian. Hey, my PNM partner from Washington, boy. Eugene Julian. I'm a PNM partner. Eugene Julian, boy. The man makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he was talking about Dr. Ramroop. Yeah, next one. Hailey says, well, you think government don't know these things? Why they don't care to do it? That is important questions to look at. Hey, Erica John, boy. Erica John, you inside. Long time don't know what tax you inside. Hailey says, when you move beaten people, where are you moving them? Can they get a job, or are they going to be in a sort of the same position? Correct is right.
But no, what I say to do is move them somewhere where they can, feed themselves by planting, where they can open up a little shop up in the front selling stuff, where they can, form some sort of cooperative society and better themselves and their children's future. That's what I say.
But Diana, I hear Vonnie Roberts now. Vonnie Roberts song like Gary, I think Vonnie Roberts and Gary had a discussion off air. Vonnie Roberts says, I hope the PDP can win 2 seats in the next general election. Vonnie Roberts, nah. You just want them run for the 2 Tobago seats? Nah, Vonnie. You and Gary, all they talking off air. All they having discussions. All right, I'm watching all. Lana says, Ansem, you see, if the authorities draft a document and take it to Quitos, he has the last say, right, to tell the president what he wants done. Yeah, fish rots from the tail. Fish do rot from the head.
Somebody say you owe Lana and Takesha a job. Hey, you owe them a job? You promised them a job?
Who promised them?
He said somebody here said that.
Who said that?
Hailey, answer them you owe Lana and Takesha a job, eh?
Hailey, stop talking to Run DMC, eh? Hailey said, Ansem, you don't need no security. My folks will take care of you. Plus room and board.
Oh, Lord. Here, Rowley. Kamala shouldn't go in the beather. Next thing, the woman slip and fall down in the sewer hole. Then the woman might sue. So it's best she don't go to the beather. Rowley, terrible.
Yeah. Hey, Marcia, did Duke take a picture taking the vaccine, taking the juice? Marcia said, just like Rowley and Kamala, Duke taking a vitamin shot.
Oh, Lord. Hey, don't go down that road now, so remember.
Yeah. Hey, Darrow, welcome as well. We didn't see you for a long time. Where's this one here? Twiggy, right? Twiggy, Nutskake said Twiggy go mash up on some new sweater. I disagree with that though. I agree with that, boy. All right, folks, let me go to some quick news here. Let me see what we have any storage here. What is this one here, boy? Let me see this one here. Hold on.
22 is on.
Carnival,
Minister of Culture Randall Mitchell has given the go-ahead for activities to be hosted throughout February 2022 using the Safe Zone initiative for events that would be open to vaccinated people only.
There would be concert type activities where you sit down, you are spaced out, you're masked, and the performers entertain. The National Carnival Commission, they have been coming up with their schedule of events, and those events would be published shortly in collaboration with the special interest groups, that is TUCO and Trinbago, as well as the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival Bands Association.
He says the private event promoters are also preparing at this time and booking venues to host these concert-type events. Based on what occurred in 2021, Minister Mitchell is confident that these events can be done safely. Mitchell tells us the public health protocols would be the guide as to which venues can be used.
We're looking at our performance spaces, which are performance spaces. There are theatres licensed under the Theatres and Dancehall License Act. The NCC is looking at the grandstand. There is enough space. It is spacious. Persons will be safely spaced and seated. And there is the grandstand stage. There are some other venues that may be used.
He's expecting that costumes and theatrical performances, which are representative of Carnival, would be a feature of some of these concerts. Minister Mitchell says there are already venues that are booked, such as Naparima Bowl and Queen's Hall. So at this time, it's up to organizers and promoters.
They can book and they can start the marketing and they can host almost immediately. With respect to the special interest groups and the National Carnival Commission, they need a little more time to plan, to put together their schedule of events, but they are very proactive, but they can proceed.
Mitchell says the Promoters Association did put forward ideas on how FET-like activities can be done while mitigating risk. This involved PCR testing for patrons, but he tells us that would have been uneconomical. Apart from that, the high number of daily positive COVID-19 cases and the presence of the Omicron variant in the community were issues the government didn't want to take a chance with.
Those types of activities are at this time deemed too risky.
The minister says traditional events such as the extempo competition and the Calypso tents are in view in context for the 2022 Carnival. And the good news is concert-like activities can continue after the Carnival period is over.
Now we're speaking about Carnival-type events because we are in the Carnival season. But post-March the 1st, other types of events, including cultural and Carnival-type events, can still be held.
Alicia Boucher, TV6 News.
Let me ask a question. If all of us are fully vaccinated, why do we have to social distance?
Because the Omicron. Because the Omicron. Why do you don't want to go down
Come back with that question and post yourself up.
All right, let me post myself up. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Somehow, the thing over. If all of us are vaccinated, the only people can go in a safe zone are vaccinated people who are fully vaccinated. Why do I still have to social distance if I am fully vaccinated?
We can't answer. You don't want to go down and road to block the program.
Like I said, vaccinated people can still contract and spread. Okay. The vaccine is not 100%.
No, Gary, wait. I'm just asking a simple question. All right, we want to go
We
down
should have
anyway.
asked Dr. Ramroop when he was here.
You know what? Daniel, right? Let me don't go down that road.
Don't go down that road. You're gonna get put in
We need
jail.
a medical doctor in here to advise us.
Yeah,
we need
you
to
get in
ask.
there.
Yeah, we need
Because
to
every
ask
time
them.
you use that word, a bot showing up.
Yeah.
They're tracking it. When you use it too many times, a bot does show up.
Yeah, because I don't know, like they're bringing a new, Caris, you're right, like they're bringing a new wine in Trinidad, a kind of remote control wine, a long distance wine. You go start over there, and I go wine from here, and we get a remote control wine.
look, Anselm, look. You see the bot show up?
Yeah.
You see the bot? Anytime you mention that word too often, that's a bot. Yeah, it's tracking you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Stay away from it. And they will track you and they'll put you in virtual prison.
So what it is, we have a...
Stay away from it.
Right. So what it is, earlier, we're going to have a remote control wine, a social distance wine. You understand? You're whining from long distance now. It's long distance wine in your perfume.
Oh gosh, it's trying to make crazy tonight, right?
It's long distance wine.
When I didn't say B-U-T-T, I said B-O-T. It's a tracking thing implemented by these forums, these virtual forums. When you're not supposed to talk about a certain issue. Right, and if you mention the word too often,
wait till we get we on website.
If you mention the word too often, they put something in between you to track, and then they'll go back and report to the YT, and they'll put us in virtual prison.
So listen to this, right, guys. We want
and that's
Caris.
And that's infringing on your freedom of speech. So we
they don't want you. They don't want you talking about it.
Yeah,
so leave it alone.
Well, America, shame on you, America.
Leave it alone.
How about that? How about that language? Shame on you, America.
We're having a special party in the village. Is a social
United
distance
States is being a hypocrite right now.
Yeah, guys. We're having a party here in the village. Is a social distance wine, remote control, or wireless wine. Right? We're whining from a distance.
You could sit on your chair and wine.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a social distance wine.
And you could sit on your chair and get something and wave.
Yeah, it's a social distance wine. So we go send you the link and you will give you a long distance wine.
I hope that Earth, Wind and Fire concert come off the week after next, because they postponed it till then. So
Caris, you're right.
I want to see how they're going to sit us.
That's nice to know, Akira, that you guys are locked in. Deeply appreciate it. So we want you guys to know that we are in here to put up a fight for you. All right, and this
we bring them in on the show. We bring them in on the show.
They're locked in.
We bring all in live and direct. Live and direct. So here's this.
Let them know that the Phantom don't quit. He goes full throttle ahead.
Yeah,
fire with all engines.
So Akira, put closing comments. Akira, we always have some individuals in the chat. Put closing comments in the chat. So Akira, I want you to put closing comments in the chat. Right? Let these people put the closing comments before we go for this break. Rose.
Wendy.
All right, this is a woman kind of thing tonight.
A woman kind of thing, eh?
Yeah, Caris.
Woman's boss.
Rose, Lana, Caris, Nadia. Put closing comments in the chat, Nadia.
Wendy, Akira, Marcia, Takesha.
Who else? Who listen? Sandy,
yes.
Sandy Hill, right? Joan wasn't there tonight, right? Erica John, if you see Erica John. Nutskick is
top
a female,
of the hour,
right?
Anselm. Top of the hour.
Nutskick is a female, right? Nutskick.
Oh no, I leave that alone.
Oh, sorry.
Oh Lord.
My bad, I apologize. I'm sorry. My bad, I apologize. It's in the village to the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Let's go for a quick station identification. Stick and stay, don't go nowhere. It's in the village of the DAG Triplets.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE LP 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
We are back with you. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. Diana?
Yeah.
Fish stick, right? Fish stick is a female, right? Fish stick?
No, that's a male.
What, fish stick is a male?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Sorry. Fish stick, sorry. I apologize.
I tell you, they call and sing a chutney soca for me.
Who's that? Fish stick?
Mm-hmm.
Wait wait now. But I thought that fella did send you some music with them grapefruit drums here.
Wait, Oric sent me a picture. He said, "Boy, he's selling dogs, but it's a plain that."
That the Dalmatian way teeth.
The plain Dalmatian.
But you know,
and it on sale.
Somebody tell me, I get a call from somebody in Tonga. They say they're missing. They have a big, it have sign on the Nelson Street taxi station, Dalmatian missing.
Ulrich trying to sell a plain Dalmatian.
But I thought I thought he said, hey, Carice. I said, well, let's still closing. Diana.
And what about the meal? He showed me one meal and then he showed me something else.
Diana, not take away send him a lamp post so he could wine for Carnival. No, yeah.
Hello, Patricia Moonilal. Stay home and wine. That's right.
Yeah.
Why they can't stay home and put on their costume in the yard and wine? Have your own carnival in your yard. That's what I say.
What do you mean?
Have your own carnival in your yard.
All right. So we have a curious closing comments. Lana says she whining 6 feet apart. For how much hours? Better she stay home and wine. That ain't no joke, you know. If you're doing a remote control wine, what's the sense?
Rose said she can't put no comment in the chat. She is sick and she thinks she's pregnant, so she would be exempted from putting comments in the chat.
All right, okay. All right, Rose.
Oh God, Rose. What you going to name it?
Huh?
Look, Wendy's comments. We ain't doing it yet. You're doing it now, or when you're gonna do it? Because they're gonna go way up, you know.
No, go ahead now. Go ahead. No. We gotta do us first. Gary, let me go.
Okay.
Gary.
Oh boy. When they call it Gary.
I think Gary wife take away your phone.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, all right. She give it back to him. Go ahead, Gary. Somebody say wife take away your phone. Go ahead.
No. I'm the boss in my house. My wife is not the boss. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for joining us, especially Dr. Ramroop and Dr. Moonilal. And I want to say a special welcome to the people in the BTAM joining us, and then to let them know that we are in this fight for them, and to feel free to reach out to us. With that, I would say good night, and I thank everyone for joining us.
Thank you,
also, Marcia, I want you coming in the show, so by Tuesday, let me know.
Yeah, we go bring Marcia in.
Oh Lord.
And we have to take Marcia to task for that thing that she did. Yeah? Tommy, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, indeed. I've been having some internet problems, but I hope to get over it. I'm still with Don Miguel Ruiz, Toltec Wisdom, the 4 agreements. I think that is going to make a difference if I keep saying or talking about the agreements. It will help the thinking. I hope it will. Again, the first is being impeccable with your word. The second is don't take anything personally. The third is don't make assumptions. And the fourth is always do your best. And tonight we can talk about not making assumptions, because assumptions. There's a where you break down assume that says you make an ASS of you and me when you assume, because assumptions are wrong. You are very often wrong when you assume. So don't assume anything. Get the facts. The facts is what is going to be the thing that would hold up. Again, tonight, I'd like to say thanks for having me in the village, even though I was having some issues. And everybody be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. And we'll talk again on Tuesday, God willing. Love to all.
Thank you, Tony. Where Diana? Diana.
Okay, I'm going to do something tonight called insufficient funds. Why do people choose to invest their capital in a particular bank? Some do it because of the expected customer service or for the access to funds when there is financial hardship. When a bank does not meet your requirements, what do? The health crisis created by the pandemic created a financial crisis for most of the PNM bankers. The PNM Political Bank of Trinidad and Tobago have given especially the people of Laventille, the people of Beetham, and various other loyal investors in their voting bank a bad check, a check which has come up and come back stating insufficient funds. Loyal bankers of the PNM could not get access to those funds they dutifully deposited in the PNM Bank for years. Some were faced with eviction, found themselves homeless. Those whose cupboards went bare because they did not get a monetary grant from the PNM Bank. Other loyal bankers found themselves defaulted on their financial obligations because of lack of funds in the PNM Bank. Instead of honoring the check they wrote, when the bankers, especially in their stronghold, deposited their funds historically, the PNM defaulted on their promissory note. For the PNM bankers in the Beetham, there are insufficient funds to deliver on a daily basis clean drinking water. The PNM Bank has insufficient funds to provide financial grant for those displaced workers. Insufficient funds to provide devices and internet for all students forced to do online schooling. Insufficient funds to provide hampers regularly for its bankers, forcing some to feel the pang of hunger. To sum it up, the PNM Bank was unable to meet its customers' requirements to help them weather the various crises brought on by the health storm. Question to those bankers: when a bank is unable to satisfy a promissory note because of insufficient funds, shouldn't you bank elsewhere? This is Diana Benskin, your global ambassador and poet, bidding you auf Wiedersehen until we meet again. Good night, my beloved people.
Thank you, Diana.
Welcome.
And I will say in closing comments, the measure of a government is how it treats its weak and most disadvantaged people. Let me repeat that. The measure of a government is how it treats its most weak and disadvantaged people. From where I sit, this is it. The clock on the wall said that's all I like to say, but I've got to go. Remember, hard work beats talent when talent does not work hard. And for every 60 seconds of anger, you lose 1 minute of happiness. See you. Now let's read.
I'll take Wendy. I see hers. More closing comments. I did not hear the whole show, but the portions that I did hear were very educational and really taught me a lot about those poor people in the Beetham going through. Akira, be safe, Wall Street. Have a blessed week. Marcia, brave boy. The show was fantastic tonight. DAG Triplets with the informed guests like Dr. Stephen Ramroop, MP Roodal Moonilal. Keep up the good work, guys. Sorry, Doctor. Anyone else? I'm not seeing.
Clarice, I got Clarice. It was a great show as always with the company of the wonderful hosts and lovely chatters. You all continue to keep safe and see you all soon. I see that. Did you read Akira?
I saw one by Akira Bottom there. She said, "Be safe, everyone, Wall Street. Have a blessed night, sir and Diana. Stay safe till next week." Okay, great. Have a blessed night, everyone. Let's work towards bringing Rowley and his bunch of thieves out of power. Lana says it takes 2 ears to listen, 1 mouth to talk. God knew why he gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's 1 mouth and 2 ears, or two mouth and 1 ear? I don't know.
1 mouth and 2 ears.
What else we got here? Who else? Carice, you did Carice?
Yeah. We only doing women tonight, Hailey. What happened?
And Wendy also said if you're going out for short wear and N95, as I did not, and 10 days later, I am congested and coughing. Great show tonight, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I just want to make sure. Good night to everyone. Akira, Lana, Wendy, you got that. Akira, Marcel, you got that. Akira, Carice didn't put one. Good night, Carice. Nadia already left. Good night, Nadia.
Highly say answer the Balije juice kicking in there. You can't see straight.
Oh, God. Akira also says the longer Trinidadians take to wake up, the longer we will suffer the evilness of Rowley and his sycophants.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see long. Yeah.
Yeah. You already read Wendy summary about if you're going for the shot. Yeah, we read that.
Yeah.
Rose gonna put no comments. All right, good.
We're not going with nothing about the juice.
No.
All righty, I think that's it.
Okay, all right. So
Akira Anderson said, "Oh wait, let me fix things between Anderson and his wife." And Akira Anderson said, "I did not acknowledge him. Pleasant good night to my husband, whom I did not hear, who I'm not near tonight, but we are both locked on."
Anderson Wilson, you know you're my partner, man. All 4'9" of you, Anderson. What is story?
And your wife says she thinking of you and she misses you dearly and loves you, darling, Dudu.
Yeah, Anderson. Where's that one, boy? You know, you're a friend of WZYE big time. Let me see, boy. I'm looking to get this one out there. We're going out with a crazy tonight. This is a good
when
one.
Crazy become prime minister, yes.
Yeah, crazy for prime minister. We ain't going out with that one. I didn't want to hear this one from Crazy before.
Thing go get fixed.
Crazy, we didn't want that one, huh? We ain't want that one, Crazy. Not that one. I'll make sure it's not nothing on this one. Always gotta make sure these things are no copyright on them. Because you know all of the
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you from a journalist. Oh, I'm honored. Insufficient funds, wonderful piece. Thank you, Marcia.
Yeah, every once in a while Diana has come up with something good.
Only every once in a while. Hey D, talk to your husband, huh? All right.
What is that one, Diana? You call out from so far, man? What is that? Diana, what's that story there?
Hey D, give a purple pill.
No, bring the blue one. Oh no, bring the green one. Is the green or the black one?
I wonder where this man gone, boy. Man drop the phone here. Gypsy drop the phone, sheltering from the last election downpour. I walk in alone and I find the cell phone just outside a bookstore. I hustling to give him back inside the mall. But like every 3 steps I make, I get 4 more calls. I had answer. I was like an operator. Yeah, me making a report to my partner. I tell Gypsy, one call you to say you're still yellow. call you to say you're singing a vex tempo. 3 call you. Look, the time still on the screen. 4 call you at 23:18. 4 call you, 4 call you. You know I won't lie. 4 call you, 4 call you. Look your phone, bye-bye. I not answering nobody phone again. When I say I find a phone, I go straight by the police with it. Some people so bad. If you lose your phone and they find it, they will keep it. Throw away the SIM card and see them posing with your possession forthwith. I may be a crazy man, but I can't thief. Would never put nobody through all that grief. The loss of contacts could put anybody off track. So I carry Gypsy phone and give him back. And I tell him, 1 call you to say you're still yellow. 2 call you to say you're singing a vex tempo. 3 call you. Look, the time still on the screen. 4 call you at 23:18. 4 call you, 4 call you. You know I won't lie. 4 call you, 4 call you. Look your phone, bye-bye. Juba, bye-bye. Gypsy was so glad to get back his cell phone from me. He told me thank you. The little time we had is another phone calls again. Don't start coming through. I couldn't detect who was the latest caller. But all I hear Gypsy say is you smoke ganja. It caused one alarm. Then Gypsy ball up me macaram. That caller had to do me partner somehow. I tell Gypsy, 1 call you to say you're still yellow. 2 call you to say you're singing a vex tempo. 3 call you. Look, the time still on the screen. 4 call you at 23:18. 4 call you, 4 call you. You know I won't lie. 4 call you, 4 call you. Look your phone, bye-bye. Hey, Ramroop, you see Gypsy boy? I looking for him all about. When I met Gypsy, he was dressed in red, wearing a P&M jersey. Crazy, he tell me, after I work so hard for the people, look what they do me. Is I build the fire station in Mayaro, and it's loved by everybody in Rio Claro. Just so they blank me from serving my constituency. So I cuss all of them and vote P&M. I tell Gypsy, 1 call you to say you're still yellow. 2 call you to say you're singing a vex tempo. 3 call you. Look, the time still on the screen. 4 call you at 23:18. 4 call you, 4 call you. You know I won't lie. 4 call you, 4 call you. Look your phone, bye-bye. 1 call you. Moses Monroe. 2 call you. I'm looking for Gypsy all about. 3 call you. They say he and Ramroop now went through the mall. 4 call you. Don't want to talk to him on the phone. 4 call you, 4 call you. I'm fed up answering phone. 4 call you, 4 call you. Gypsy, where you, where you? 1 call you. Why you see me, I done with that. 2 call you. I not answering nobody phone again. 3 call you. I put myself in trouble. Look at me now. What go after me? 4 call you. I ain't gonna eat no food again. 4 call you, 4 call you. 4 call you, 4 call you.